At the Combine, Miami's Cam Ward is doing the same. Ward will go through the interview process, but told reporters, quote, "I think my 5 years of film shows everything I can do. Me throwing here at the Combine is not going to move the needle in any way." We have our first franchise tag of the offseason, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Per ESPN, the Chiefs have informed guard Trey Smith that they'll use the tag on him. For Smith, it's a one-year contract worth $23 million, effectively making him the highest-paid guard in the league.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
I know it feels like we're talking about a lot of the same potential extensions here, but maybe things get moving pretty soon. In fact, maybe things get moving today with at least one of these. John Schneider on the John Schneider Show with Wyman and Bob, this again is yesterday, so when he says tomorrow, he means today, said that he and the Seahawks are meeting with Geno Smith and his agent.
We'll be meeting with him, with his guys tomorrow. We hope to, get an extension with Geno, and Geno knows he's our guy. We love him, and we want to keep going forward. A little bit more on what they hope to find out at that meeting. It's where we find out what he's thinking. It's a great question. Yep, and it's interesting because a lot of the conversations too are, and take quarterbacks out of it, or regardless of position, everybody's trying to figure out what everybody's market value is. And by position, it can range from, it can be off, $2 million, it can be off $6 million. It really, when the gun goes off for free agency is when we find out exactly what's going on. But we're down here conversating, kind of ballparking it and strategizing to, get ready for, the next steps once free agency hits. It sure sounds, Bump, like the Seahawks want Geno here, like Geno wants to be with the Seahawks. So what are they really trying to figure out at this meeting today?
Money. It all comes down to money.
The number is.
You know what this is about.
Yeah.
So he has a $16 million roster bonus, starts March 16th. Right now he has a $44.5 million cap hit. So you gotta tweak that a little bit. But it comes down to money. When you look at who Geno is compared to all the other quarterbacks in the game, he's got a $25 million annual average salary. That ranks 19th amongst QBs and last amongst full-time starters that are not on rookie contracts. So now if you adjust that, right, because the salary cap is going to go up, you adjust that to $31 million. This is all via Brady Henderson, big ups. You adjust that to $31 million. That it doesn't change any of his numbers. Mm-hmm. So pretty much he is the cheapest quarterback that is a starter not on a rookie contract at this point. That has to change. So where does he rank? And I'm looking at the guys who are getting paid. I'm focusing on the guys who aren't on rookie contracts. You got Derek Carr, who's making $37 million. You have Kirk Cousins, who's making $45 million. Goes right back to the number I put out there yesterday. $40 million is probably where this thing is going to land, somewhere around that. If it does land on $40 million, it's only 14% of the cap. So it comes down to money and years. How much money are we going to give them? How much money up front are we going to give them, or if any up front? And it's all numbers. So that's what they're working on at this point. I believe it's going to get done. It's just when, how much, and is Geno going to be happy? We have been making, I don't want to say a devil's advocate argument for Geno. I think the vast majority of people, including Mike McDonald and John Schneider, think that Geno is a perfectly fine starting quarterback and are very happy having him here in Seattle for right now. But if I were to say, you're John Schneider and the Seahawks staff, and Geno's agent says, we're looking at 45-50. Like, what's the limit? Like, what do you start to do? You know what I mean? Like, I know we're so used to kind of saying, like, well, Geno does this. You got to give him credit. But, like, where does the argument become, Geno, you got to consider this. Like, we simply cannot do this. Here's how negotiations work. You're going to start somewhere, and you better start high. So if I am Geno's representation, I'm starting at 45. I might start at 50. Yeah. Like, let's get crazy, dog. 50, what's up?
Like,
let's see what they say.
89 against the cap this year.
They just might take it. You never know. Shoot your shot. You know what I'm saying? You start high, but I think that the number for me that I wouldn't go over is 40. But there are ways that you can construct a contract to make it to where he's eventually getting 40 and everything's all good. Maybe it's on the back end. There are ways to do this, ways that are beyond my understanding of contracts and how they move money around, but it's going to get done. And hopefully it gets done today. so Stacy can get her breaking news voice on, and we can respond to that.
Do you guys ever hear that it sounds different? Do I sound different when I do breaking news?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You sound like one of those Cairo FM news anchors over there.
It's when I do my
Breaking
snapshots.
news.
If you only listen to the podcast, you don't hear the snapshots, but when I do the snapshots,
snapshot for
my
sure.
voice gets about like half an octave deeper. So I'll go, we have our first franchise tag of the offseason, and that's how I start talking.
Yep.
I can't control it.
We're gonna hear that today, hopefully.
Breaking news voice, Stacy. She just is who she is.
She's different.
You know what I mean?
You know?
It's
She wears pantsuits.
It's not breaking news, Stacy. That's Tracy. It's breaking news, Tracy.
Big blouses, like, yeah.
And from the
Very
news
formal.
desk. All right, let's get to a little bit more sound here from Schneider because we have a couple contracts to look at. Asked if they're working on something with Uchenna Nwosu.
You saw there was some maneuvering with a trigger date with Nwosu. Are you guys working on restructure to sort of lessen the impact of that cap hit with him?
Yes.
All right. And then you also
But
made
it's a process that we're working through, and we met with his guys this week, so we'll continue to do that.
John Schneider just, yes, we did buy time. It sounds like the Seahawks would like to keep Uchenna. I would like to have Uchenna here. I know he's still looking for that full season, but Bump, when he's on the field, he's really impactful.
And we haven't really seen him with this defense for real.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him with Leo and with Ernest and Tyrese Knight and just the way that they've been playing. He has a $21 million cap hit at this point. I'm sure they're going to try to restructure that and get that done. And honestly, the Hawks are working in a position of advantage because he has been banged up, right? If you haven't been able to perform, you haven't been able to live up to your contract on the field, and you lose some leverage in this situation. But the most important thing is get this guy going, get him on the football field. Because I can imagine when it's him, Boye Mafe, you got that second level with Tyrese Knight and Ernest, and you throw Leo into the mix. Like, we haven't seen the full performance from the whole band yet, So I think that is what makes this thing exciting. And he's just an emotional leader, too. And the guy can ball. I know we lean on his emotion because that's what we see out of him. But when he is healthy, he's one of the best pass rushers in the game. So let's get him healthy. Let's work this contract out. He's 28 years of age. He's still got some years left in him, and get this done. Or 29, excuse me.
You know what's so weird is we were, as was everyone, fairly critical of the Mariners going, maybe we have the pieces. But I kind of feel like it's going to be that kind of offseason for the Seahawks where they go, maybe we have the pieces. Like, I know we're going to be over the next 2 weeks as we inch closer to the start of free agency in mid-March, looking at a lot of free agent targets, especially on the offensive line, right? Maybe some tight ends, wide receivers, what have you. But it kind of feels like this is a team that goes, we want to keep Uchenna. We want to keep Jaron Reed. We want to find a way to keep our receivers. You know what I mean? And I don't know that they're going to be turning outward for a lot of help.
They don't have to, honestly. If you were to bring back, and it's not going to happen, I don't think, with Tyler Lockett unless he just takes a crazy cut, right? But let's say everyone comes back. You got everyone, all the skill guys at least. Because let me rephrase that. Everyone comes back except for the offensive line. Like, you got to fix that offensive line. But you just bring everyone else back.
You can't run it back completely.
You can't run it back completely. But you bring all the skill guys back in the D-line and second level and secondary. I think you feel good about this ball club.
I do.
I feel good about it, right? Uchenna is healthy. You got Kobe Bryant, who's established himself, which I'm so proud of that dude for getting to the mix and doing his thing. If you bring everyone back and you beef up that offensive line, you should feel good about this football team. You should feel like they're competing for the division. Now, we're going to probably get some bad news later. Sounds like Matthew Stafford is going to get back with the Rams, and you got to deal with that nonsense over there. But the Niners got to figure some things out, right? They got to sign a bunch of guys. The Arizona Cardinals got to take a step forward. You just want to be in the mix. And I think that next year, the NFC West is going to be one of the more competitive divisions, and they'll be able to compete. So I'm interested, man. Just beef up that offensive line. If you were to bring everyone back, which you're not, there are going to be a couple guys who aren't going to be here. I think you're fighting for the division.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. And as you were talking about running it back minus some pieces on the offensive line where you want to rework it, I was thinking, yes. Like, I am not buying into the idea being sold by Dipoto, for instance, that, like, no, if you look at these advanced metrics, you can really find that our offense was, like, pretty solid. Like, I think that they are expecting, fundamentally, more from some players than those players are able to give. Like, I think that they needed to add a little more offensively, and now what they have to turn to is a perfect year from your starters, an improved season from your bullpen, and an MVP season from Julio.
Right.
And then that's the ingredients that you need to succeed. With Seattle, I don't remember an extended period of time where I thought they don't have the guys at running back. They just don't have the guys at wide receiver. They don't have the guys in the DB room. Like, I don't remember extended periods. Every single week was the exact same conversation, maybe two of them. First, it was the offensive line that continued every single season. And then to begin the year, you worried about defensive improvements, and I think we felt solid about it by the end of the season. But I don't think run it back is settling for the Seahawks. And I think that that's the case with Geno, too. I don't think running Geno back is settling. I think it's still trying to compete.
Especially when you went out and you got a new offensive coordinator. That's the thing about this game in football, is that the coaches probably have the most influence on a game in football than any other of our major sports, right? More than baseball, more than hockey, more than basketball. Football, coaches directly affect every single play. They line you up, they put you in the right position, and they call their plays. So we're running it back personnel-wise, but you're not running it back when it comes to scheme, when it comes to coaches and philosophy. And I think that's the thing that is encouraging. If they were to run it back with the same coaching staff from last year, I think we'd be a bit more hesitant now. Like, why would Grubb change the way that he calls a game now? What hasn't he shown us? With Kubiak, we have his film. We have an idea of what he's going to do, but because we haven't seen it in a Seahawk uniform yet, we're a bit more optimistic. And I saw what he did with the New Orleans Saints, and he didn't have what he has over here. He just doesn't. And I'll say it again, that film from the offensive line, when I'm looking at the Saints and the Seahawks, it's not that big of a difference. It's crazy to me that the Saints were ranked 21 and the Hawks were all the way down at 32. Not saying that the Hawks should have been higher, but I'm looking at the Saints and saying, well, what do they have that made them the 21st offensive line in the game? I think he has a bit more to work with over here when it comes to the quarterback position, obviously, because Derek Carr was the guy over there, and he's aging a bit, and he's getting paid more than Geno, and the weapons that he has on the outside. So, yes, run that thing back with this personnel, but the coaching, I think, is going to be the biggest difference maker.
Okay. We have one listener making a counterpoint, and I'll throw it your way in the final 3 minutes here. I think bringing everyone back for more money is a great plan to improve a 500 team with a career 500 quarterback who's 36, and you're already over the cap. Basically being like, you were middling, and now you're going to pay a middling team more money to remain in the middle. Do you disagree?
Yeah, I disagree. Because I think with the improvements we saw with the defense, that this team is going to come off to or get off to a better start. I think that with the addition of Kubiak and his coaching staff to the offense, this offense is going to get moving. I think with a year of Mike McDonald being a head coach and understanding what he needs to do and what he doesn't need to do and delegating all that stuff, this team's going to move in the right direction to get one game away from making the playoffs last year. I don't think they're a middling team. If they win one more game, they're in the playoffs, and then maybe they lose in the first round, who knows? But you might feel a bit different about this situation. Oh, no, I disagree completely because I see the progression in the defense and I see the progression in philosophy in the offense. It's all got to come together. Nothing's guaranteed, right? But no, I don't feel that way at all.
Yeah, I think the Mariners missing the playoffs, having a disappointing end to the season. The Seahawks missing the playoffs, having a disappointing end to the season, can sometimes make us feel like they are in the same place and facing the same problems, and I don't think they are. I think there are some similarities, and as just a sports fan, it's interesting for me to talk about them. Like, I could talk about them endlessly. But I think when we talk about the Mariners needing change and the Mariners cannot settle, you're not being hypocritical by turning to the Seahawks and saying, even though they're a team that didn't make the playoffs, well, I like what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not settling by saying that. They were the only double-digit, or they were the only 10-win team to not make the playoffs. It came down to a fifth tiebreaker, and we all know exactly what the problem is. We all know that they have an offensive line problem, and eventually they will need to find a younger quarterback. It's just a fact. But it's not a huge mystery. You have good wide receivers, good running backs. Mm-hmm. You have a good defense. You got some really nice pieces on your defensive line. You know what your problem is. It's a different conversation when it comes to the Mariners, and one we will be having with Mike Salk. He's joining us live from Peoria. Guys are out there for spring training. That's coming up at 10:30 right now. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Myles Garrett has told the Browns he is not open to a contract extension and has dug his heels in on his trade request. What's the real headline?
Will he be flying to the Eagles? That's what everyone's actually talking about in NFL circles this morning. We've got a story from Diana Rossini coming up later in NFL headlines. Myles Garrett, I initially thought, was just kind of jockeying for more guaranteed money. You know what I mean? Using leverage that a player of his caliber has to try to get more guaranteed money from your team. It sounds like he's actually very serious about going to a contender, saying, I might only have a couple years, and I want to play for a team that's going to get me there, and I don't think the Browns will.
It's both, because he has no more guaranteed money on his contract. And if Myles Garrett were to go to the Philadelphia Eagles, I hope Roger Goodell would David Stern that thing like when the Lakers tried to get CP3
Just step in and say
shut
it's
that
not
down. Like, you
fair.
know what? Not going down. You guys already have the most complete team in the game. Let's shut that up. But
You get the tush push or Myles.
Exactly. But I understand why Myles wants to go. His rookie season, they go 0-16. Last year, he goes 3-14. He's been a defensive player of the year. He's been all pro. He's done everything he can and given everything to this organization. He wants to get out of there. I mean, he signed a 5-year, $125 million in 2020. It was the biggest contract for a guy at his position at the time. And it's a double whammy. You have no more guaranteed money. You want that guaranteed money, and you want to win. You've spent 8 seasons being less than mediocre. You got 2 seasons where you went to the playoffs. I don't think you won a game. Maybe you did win one game, actually. You beat the Pittsburgh Steelers with Baker Mayfield. Yeah. But other than that, his greatness is attached to an organization that does not know how to win. Let this man go. Now, that's me speaking as a player. As a GM, you ain't going nowhere, Myles. You sit down and you eat your food, all right? I'm treating you like my children at this point. It's a tough place to be in. I think the right thing to do would be to let him go. But in reality, if you are the Cleveland Browns, why would you let go of the best thing you got going?
If Howie Roseman actually pulls off a trade for Myles Garrett and then the Eagles get back to a Super Bowl or have just another miraculous season, just give him Executive of the Year. Just do it.
Yeah.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, the Seahawks have granted Rayshawn Jenkins permission to seek a trade. What's the real headline?
Yeah, the Seahawks are giving this one last shot at a pick. That's what's happening here. There's not necessarily a big story about unhappiness with the organization. Rayshawn Jenkins will probably be a cap casualty, and the Seahawks are trying to see if they can recoup any value before releasing him.
Yeah, he's got a $7.9 million cap. Dead. He's around 2.5. They can save some money there. He played every snap the first 6 games, then he gets hurt, right? Missed 4 games. When he comes back, the highest snap count he played was 50%. The lowest is 18%. And that's because of this guy, Kobe Bryant. But in those 6 games, he had 38 tackles, no passes defended, no interceptions, but he did have a fumble recovery for a touchdown. You insert Kobe Bryant. 100% of the snaps after week 8. He has an interception for a touchdown, 2 interceptions total, 2 passes defended, 2 quarterback hits. It seemed like he just fit better. And he's cheaper. Now, you could cut Kobe Bryant, which would be crazy, and you're only going to save about $200,000. This is a business move, and it's all because of Kobe Bryant. Kobe did this. If Kobe didn't come out and have the year that he had, Jenkins would probably want to be here, and the Hawks would want him to be here. But he sees the writing on the wall. This young man is younger. He's cheaper. He made some more plays. Let's just part ways, and let me see what else is out there. I think the most you can get for Jenkins is like a 7th-round pick, maybe a 6th-round pick. But I think teams are also going to look at this situation and be like, look, you're going to cut him anyway. So why would we give you anything? Unless they hear about another team that wants Jenkins, that's when the negotiation starts. But I wish the best for Jenkins because he's not a bad ball player.
No.
My dude can play. It's just you got a younger, cheaper talent out there making plays.
Speaking of that younger, cheaper talent, sticking with the topic of Kobe Bryant, I find his career trajectory to have been so interesting. You know what I mean? Like, there was a period of time where it's like he has his rookie season and we're like, look at all these forced fumbles, and then he just fades to the background.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Was he like positionless as a player? Did you just have other players that came in and took those jobs? I mean,
well, they were moving him everywhere, right? He was a nickel, he was a corner, he was a safety, and that adds value to the situation. But he wasn't available. He kept getting banged up. I think he had turf toe, then his hamstring got going. But they kept him around for a reason because when he was in there, he was making plays. Like, he brings this type of intensity to the game that you need at that safety spot. So it was a combination of things. It's injuries and really not knowing where to put him. But I think he settled in real nice to that safety spot.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, the Rams and Matthew Stafford are meeting today with multiple reports pointing to Stafford returning to LA in 2025. What's the real headline?
let's hope he is returning to LA as part of a layover on his flight to Vegas.
I was looking up flights to L.A. the other day, and there's an airline. I don't know who we're associated with, so I'm not going to say the airline.
Okay.
They had no direct flights to L.A. out of Seattle. None. And it's an airline everybody knows. I'm like, y'all tripping. Anyway, it was
Southwest.
crazy.
Yeah, we're not affiliated.
Yeah, we
Bingo,
can say
bango.
all we want about
Bingo,
Southwest.
bango.
We can sit here just
Southweezy. That's why I don't fly with y'all.
we can just slander them.
That's why I don't fly with y'all. That's why I'm other people. Okay, so
Interesting.
Going back to LA, you know what's crazy? I'm looking at just who these guys are on paper. The Giants, the Raiders, and the Rams. And if you look at just the basic stats of where they rank offensively, the Giants were 30th, Raiders 27th, the Rams 18th. Running the football, the Giants 23rd, the Raiders 32nd, the Rams 24th. When it comes to points, the Giants 31st, the Raiders 29th, the Rams 25th. Doesn't seem like they're too far apart. Then defensively, you get some of the same numbers, but it ain't about that. It's about how they finish the season and what they have personnel-wise. We know the Rams have this great defensive line that's going to be around for a long time. We know they have a number one receiver. They're looking to ship off Cooper Kupp. You're going to be able to get like a third rounder out from Cooper Kupp. They are moving in the right direction, and why would you want to break this up? I mean, Sean McVay has his quarterback to run his system. If Matthew Stafford goes elsewhere, who you run into? Aaron Rodgers? I think Aaron Rodgers could be good in this offense. He could be okay, but it ain't Matthew Stafford. So they have to get this done. What's intriguing is what weapons do the Giants have? You have Malik Neighbors. The Raiders have Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers over there. It's just nothing says I should leave other than you're not going to pay me what I think I deserve. And there's no doubt about it. He's a top 10 quarterback in the game. He should be getting around $50 million a year. So the Rams, do what you do with your cap and move money around and whatever it takes, because Matthew Stafford gives you the best chance to win.
If you're keeping Matthew Stafford, it is a win now move. Tell me what you think about an ESPN take I saw that was looking at some of these potential trade landing spots, and they said, if you keep Matthew Stafford in LA, you only trade Cooper Kupp if you can get pretty high draft capital in a return. Otherwise, you're keeping a win now piece and then trading a win now piece. Like, the move is philosophically juxtaposed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But I think you can get something for Cooper Kupp. Not a first, not a second, but you might be able to get a third. And like we mentioned yesterday, scouts are saying, after the 10th pick, 10 through 35, they all kind of look the same.
Yeah.
And that's the NFL. There's only about 10 to 15 players a year who are just so far above and beyond the other talent that you have to draft them. Other than that, man, you go find your money in the later rounds. Those guys hang around longer anyway. Oh, I think it's a win-win for the Rams. If you get Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp is gone, you get a draft pick out of him, one or two, maybe a later round pick as well. You should be fine, man. It's unfortunate that I'm talking about the Rams this way, because they got a squad, man, and they're not going anywhere.
Let's head to Peoria to chat Mariners with Mike Salk. He joins us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Joining us here in the booth, Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill.
Julio being Julio is still going to matter, I think, more than anyone else you bring in. I think he can be a true difference maker, all-star MVP quality. I mean, we all know what his ceiling can be. And I'm actually really confident that he's going to have a big year. And because we have seen it in flashes where he has been among the best players in baseball.
Yeah.
Like the absolute best player that this game has to offer.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
Washington State ranks number 5 in the country for auto theft. The most high-risk vehicles are Kia, Hyundai, Ford F-150, F-250, and F-350. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Crafted with precision and timeless elegance, Chris Craft boats are the epitome of sophistication and performance. Each is a masterpiece designed with superior craftsmanship, exquisite materials. No matter your pleasure, cruising, surfing, or performance from 24 to 35 feet, it's at Chris Craft Northwest. Look at the rest and experience art in motion. Chris Craft Northwest. See the difference at the new Chris Craft Northwest showroom on Lake Union during the open house through March 1st. Visit chriscraftnw.com.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Going down in a rinse change. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. What? They got hidden fees, that ain't nice.
Ain't nice.
Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people, and we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships, because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck, and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees, because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Hey guys, did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Mike Salk joining us live from Peoria on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Mike, how's it going?
Hi, Stacy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little envious of the sun, but it's actually been kind of nice up here. So we're getting a little taste of spring.
Good.
I know.
Deserve it.
Thank you. You guys have had So many great interviews so far. We loved what we were hearing from Cal, from Julio, Kevin Seitzer. Is there anyone in particular, I'm just starting with something light, is there anyone in particular where you were like, man, I loved this, like this was so insightful?
Well, Brock said it today, and I'll agree with him 100%. Kevin Seitzer was the biggest surprise of the week. Hitting coaches are generally quiet, generally hard to find. They're in the back cage all day, just throwing soft toss, and you never get an opportunity to really talk to them. And Seitzer is the opposite. He is friendly. He is charismatic. I mean, he was a long-time, really successful big leaguer, and you can feel that energy off of him, that relatability and relationship building that is not always the case with hitting coaches. And obviously, what's the big question is, can this team hit? I don't know whether he can make guys hit. I don't want to give too much credit to a hitting coach because in general, I'm not like a big hitting coach person, but it was cool to see that they've really gone 180 degrees in the opposite direction there.
The most important question, Salk, have you played golf since you've been down there yet?
You know, Bump, I was able to once or maybe twice just kind of get over there and just see what happens. A lot of playing at Sun City West with the old folks. That was fun. Yeah, I like playing with the old folks.
All right, love to hear it. Love to hear it. Let's talk some ball now, man. Again, I'm big on just the feel, right? You go down there every year, and you got a new regime. You got Dan Wilson. You got Edgar over there. You mentioned the hitting coach. Like, is it a more buttoned-up feel, or is it more relaxed feel? What does this version of the Mariners feel like?
Definitely more relaxed. Definitely less urgency, less pressure, less running from one place to the other, organized, etc. The temperature, I think Shannon used the phrase, has just been turned down just a little bit. And there's going to be some positives, and there could be some drawbacks to that. The positives, look, Scott was a pretty intense guy. And I think that there were times where guys were in between. They were maybe gripping the bats a little too tight last year. And I think that a much more easygoing approach should help some of that. Flip side, Scott's teams made very few mental mistakes over the course of his tenure here. And when you take a more relaxed approach, you may see some moments where guys kind of forget themselves for a sec. And that's when you get pickoffs and kind of, bad base running plays or mental mistakes. So it's all about trade-offs, right? And I think they're going to try to go like most teams do when they change management to just a different set of trade-offs, and we'll see if they can maximize some of the hitting value that's been lost over the last few years.
I'm obviously fascinated, as is every other Mariners fan, about what this team is going to look like, particularly early, because I think the hope for a lot of fans is, please tell me it's not the whole team. Like, please tell me it's just an approach to the plate or a philosophy, or that there's a tweak you can make that doesn't involve, going and adding like 5 new guys. So I always hear through these interviews, oh, they're simplifying things. They're simplifying things. What does it actually mean? Like, I'm still trying to figure out, like, what's being simplified?
I think it's taking the amount of information that's available and how it's distilled and presented to the players. There's so much information in baseball, right? And it's almost like every hitter is playing quarterback, not to just, turn baseball to football, but, quarterbacks have to distill so much information on every play. They're looking at the linebacker and the safety and the corner and the coverage and the route combination, and the really good ones, and there's only a few of them, are able to distill all of that into, we talk about them being fast processors. Well, you're asking baseball hitters, especially right now, to distill a ton of information. What does this guy like to throw in different counts? What is his hot zone and cold zone? What's my hot zone and cold zone? And when all of that information starts to overwhelm a player, what do? Take it away. Now, the challenge is, it is so hard to hit major league pitching that any edge you can get, you want, right? If you have tendencies and things that should help you. But if it's gotten to the point where that is either complicated or is top of mind instead of back of mind while you're hitting, I think it just ends up with these guys being kind of in between. So they are trying to simplify the approach that way. And I think the second part of that is just, hey, just keep it up the middle. Just nice and easy, hit it up the middle. Hit line drives up the middle, and everything else will just kind of come. You're getting away from launch angle and some of the other exit velo stuff that has been important in baseball, not just in Seattle for the last decade or so, but just trying to keep a simple approach of just hit the ball back up the middle, and everything else will take care of itself.
Salk, one of the advantages you guys have of being down there is like you get these interviews and you get to sit down and look these athletes in the eye and pick up on body language or whatnot. When you guys spoke to Cal and he said, he'd be up for signing an extension here, did you believe him or did you think it was just company talk, let me say the right thing at the right time?
Yes, both of those things, I think, at the same time. And the same for Logan. I mean, both guys said that this week. Yeah, I look, in Cal's case, it carries a little extra weight because he changed agents, right? Because he's no longer with Scott Boras, who is infamous for not wanting to sign any sort of a deal before free agency. So there's a little bit of action to go with the words there. In Logan's case, I don't know which it is. I mean, we're just sort of starting to get to the point of figuring that out. The reality is, I know the Mariners have had conversations with both of them about long-term extensions. It's not like the Mariners aren't interested. It's a matter of whether or not those guys want to do it, can find the right number, want to be in Seattle. Look, if you're Cal Raleigh, it's great in Seattle, but there are some teams out there that are going to offer him the moon if he makes it to free agency. The Red Sox would love to have the evolutionary Jason Varitek. Buster Posey in San Francisco would love to have Cal Raleigh. He's a former catcher himself. And I think the same is going to be true with Logan Gilbert. And I think the Florida teams especially, or teams in, say, Atlanta, are going to be very tempting to a guy who's from that area. So, yeah, I mean, I take them seriously. I think they mean it, but I don't know whether that leads me to, okay, this is now going to get done.
Who's the most important player on this team not named Julio Rodriguez?
Okay, you stole the answer. That's not fair. It's definitely Julio Rodriguez. After that, and by the way...
It becomes more interesting after that.
Yeah. The after that is like a huge gap.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
It's like the difference between AAA and the majors compared to like double and AAA. Like everybody else is really far down the line. It depends how you look at it. If you're looking at it as, the next most important guys are probably each of the 5 pitchers tied. But I think we're sort of banking on that, right? You're banking on Cal doing what he's done because that's what he's done. For me, the next most important guy after the obvious sort of, I expect them to do what they've always done, is Randy Arozarena, because I think he's the next most talented. And we saw a little of what Randy's capable of last year. I'm still not sure we saw all of it. I really want to see the guy that was in the World Series a few years ago and was a menace to the other team. I mean, he was in some ways he could have been the World Series MVP in a loss. That's how good he was in that World Series and in those playoffs. So when you see him, I had not seen him up close and personal. I don't know how I missed him last year in the clubhouse up in Seattle. But, dude, he's built. He is not that tall, but he looks like an NFL free safety. He is jacked up and in like tight little package and kind of just an explosive look to his body. When you see him out there, like I really want to get that going. And I think if you get like a 3.5, 4.5 win season out of Randy, now the middle of your order, you get that, Julio, Randy, Cal factor that I think scares another team of like, hey, you better get out the guys at the end of this order because you don't want to have to come back around and deal with 2, 3, 4 again.
See, I know I made the question tough on you, but to be fair, I've heard like 4 different answers. John Morosi, who was on with Wyman and Bob, said Mitch Garver was maybe the most important non-Julio.
I don't know.
Bump felt like it, same as you, where he was like, it's obviously Julio, but made the case for someone like JP. Like, who's going to have a career high when you least expect it? Like, who's going to outperform all expectations?
He's definitely an X factor.
We had listeners who said Dylan Moore. Like, you're looking at someone like who's going to be the surprise. You have to have a surprise if you're not counting on a big, breadth of talent.
But those guys, those are all good. There is no wrong answer. And look, if Mitch Garver, all right, fine. If Mitch Garver has like a crazy season, would it help? Yes. But as of now, he starts the year as your backup catcher.
Right.
I mean, Randy Arozarena might be the second most talented position player on this team.
Yeah.
He is a legitimately talented, physically impressive baseball player that you just don't see everywhere else, in the league. my mind goes there because of the upside potential. Could JP have a much better year? Would it help? Yes, definitively. If you get, the second half of Victor Robles, yes, definitively. If Luke Raley takes a step, any of those guys. But, yeah, I'm going to stick with Randy just because I think he's the next most talented guy in the team.
Oh, it's a really good answer. Mike, enjoy the sun.
Thanks, Salk.
Great to talk to you guys. See you next week.
See ya. Coming up next, a Seahawks trade request has us reflecting on the 2024 offseason. What did we learn?
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
We've been going position group by position group. We move on to safeties, Dave. So you got Julian Love, who's entering the first year of a 3-year extension. He had a great season. You got Kobe Bryant in the final year of his rookie deal. Rayshon Jenkins is the most likely cap casualty here because he's got a $7.9 million cap hit. And if they release him, they save $5.4 million. He had some plays, but he didn't have $7.9 million cap hit plays.
I agree. Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. It's Mike Salk here, and this summer you can experience breathtaking Cascade views, world-class dining, and of course the best entertainment. Elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost in relaxation. The hotel opens this summer with deluxe king and 2 queen rooms, premiums, grand suites, signature suites, and the breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. For more details, go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
I started Davis Law Group in 1994 to fight for the underdog. And as our team has grown, we've stayed true to that mission. Today, Davis Law Group is known for providing excellent service and even better results. Visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com to get your free book on car accident law.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet. But we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit PacificLamp.com.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
They say teachers don't impact for a year, but for a lifetime. Hi, this is Rick Riz. Join WSECU, your local credit union, as we celebrate those who give so much with the Teacher of the Week program. Nominate a teacher you feel has changed a life in our community. Each week throughout the season, we'll honor one teacher with a $500 grant, courtesy of WSECU. Teachers are the real MVPs. Find out more and nominate a teacher at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
Calling all pickleballers, Champions of Change and Safeway announced a multi-city pickleball tournament, including celebrity games with Seahawks legends Doug Baldwin, Mike Bennett, Cliff Averill, and more. In collaboration, Nourishing Champions campaign will be raising awareness and accepting donations to provide nutritious foods for student athletes in under-resourced high schools. You can help by donating at your local Safeway checkout. Open to all. The tournaments are in Seattle, Lacey, and Spokane. Register today at championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Rayshawn Jenkins has been granted permission to seek a trade. Bump, that makes him the fourth player on this team acquired last offseason, and you pointed this out, to become a starter and then no longer be on the squad. And you were just thinking about this yesterday. Was it a way to look back at the 2024 class going like, okay, what did we learn from clearly some missteps here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird, man, because Connor Williams is the weirdest case when it comes to the guys who were brought over to be starters and no longer with the team. He retires. Dotson starts off the season hot. He gets released. Jerome Baker starts off the season pretty good. He gets released, and then they're allowing Rayshawn Jenkins to now seek out a trade. I think that's more because of what Kobe Bryant did. We talked about that during headline rewrites. There's two ways you can look at this thing. It's like, all right, well, is the evaluation process jacked up, or is the evaluation process on point? Like they found something else, you know? And I think the way that they approached this offseason, this past offseason, was good. You had a question at center. So what do? You go and get a veteran center who's shown that he can play multiple positions as well. And Connor Williams, can he and he's coming off an ACL, right? Is he healthy or not? He's good to go. You go and get Tyrell Dotson, a guy who's with the Buffalo Bills, who got some snaps and showed that he can play some ball. And then you got Jerome Baker, who was a captain over there with the Miami Dolphins. And you bring over Jenkins from the Jacksonville Jaguars. All veterans, right? And I think when you are Mike McDonald and you're AD and you are Frazier trying to figure out this defense, you don't want to rely on young pieces, at least not to start. You always want to go with some veterans to kind of break the ice and get things going. And that's exactly what they did. So I look at these moves, and initially I'm thinking, smart move, right? But then I look at what happened halfway through the season, or about halfway through the season, and these guys aren't here. And I applaud their courageousness in saying, we're good, we have found something better. So there could have been a process or something wrong with the process in evaluating, or it could have been that they knew this was kind of going to happen all along. You guys are just here, honestly, just to allow these younger guys or these other pieces to kind of grow and see what we have. Because when you are a new head coach, you have new coordinators, you don't really know how things are going to go. And you don't like depending on rookies. I have this conversation with Dave Wyman all the time. You don't want to depend on rookies. It's rare that a rookie shines like a Jaden Daniels or a C.J. Stroud or whatnot, and they exceed expectations. So you go with the veterans. So I think that the evaluation process was on point when it came to acquiring these veterans. It was even better when they were pushed to the side and you made way for some younger guys or some other guys and getting Ernest Jones to throw in the mix as well.
I think it's perfectly fair to read a lot into those decisions and those moves and to say that that's part of that evaluation process. So I like that angle because it's not like, no disrespect to these players, but it's not like this team took months and months and months scouting, and then like drafted Connor Williams, Dodson, Baker, and Rayshon Jenkins. With all four, you could argue they were in a desperate position.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Connor Williams was signed in August?
Yep.
You didn't have a lot of options. It was the best veteran option that you could see, but like you put yourself in that position. With Dodson and Baker, you desperately needed linebackers.
Yep.
And you knew that you were taking a chance with both. And that was a risk that John Schneider made. Hey, I'm going to move on from paying Bobby. I'm going to move on from prioritizing paying Jordan Brooks. And the cost of that is I have fewer options at linebacker. I think these two are the best. Obviously later corrected that decision, as you pointed out. And I wouldn't say Rayshon was like, a desperate move, but you moved on from two safeties and you were turning to your corners to be like, these are going to be our guys in the backfield and we're going to add to the safety room. But like, they weren't turning to Rayshon Jenkins to be, a huge bet or like a guy of the future. All four of these were moves that were from a place of desperation.
Desperation and understanding that there's less teaching when you bring veterans in. Connor Williams has ran zone, trap, power, all the counter, all that stuff. He's ran it before. There's less teaching. He's going to be able to look at a box, even if he doesn't execute it, even if he is snapping the football over Geno's head. You know that he's going to be able to identify the box and get guys lined up. You look at a Dotson and a Jerome Baker, less teaching there. The verbiage might be a bit different, but they know, okay, well, this is the strong side. This is how we want to attack it. You can talk to Dotson and Baker and say, just like you did in Miami, this is how we're going to do it here. When you got rookies in there, even if they're coming from a great organization like BAM, we don't have those guys on this roster, but BAM or Ohio State or whatnot, there's still some teaching that's going to be involved. And because there are so many D1 football players and so little NFL players, the speed is going to be different. The feel is going to be different. Maybe the alignment might be adjusted a little bit. So this was the safe thing to do, and the smart thing to do was to go out and get some veterans that you wouldn't have to spend so much time teaching. That's why Tyrese Knight didn't just get thrown in there. They probably thought he could play the position at a high level. But there's the little things that you have to teach and the mistakes that you have to deal with. So for him being able to sit back for a few weeks and kind of watch this thing go down and then get paired up next to a veteran in Ernest Jones, it was the best case scenario. So this was the smart move. You go and get some veterans, knowing that eventually I got guys competing with Connor. I have a rookie competing with Dotson and Baker. And I have a guy who's been here for a few years in Kobe Bryant that's going to compete with Rayshon and learn at the same time.
I'll say this, though. This was a bad free agent class. We can, with this class isolated, go, okay, was it desperation? You corrected the mistakes. Can I look into that? But if you do it again, or if you have like another 2 years where you're like, man, you keep missing the mark, like you're getting some help from drafted rookies, but you are overpaying bad veterans. Like if you keep running into the same issues, that's when I think you have to say it's evaluation.
Yeah, there's less to do now, though. You got your linebackers, you got your D-line. You're really looking for offensive linemen. Like there's less to do. So yeah, I mean, if they get the offensive line situation wrong again, we could roll our eyes and say same old story, different year.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully they don't. There's less to do this year, so we'll see how they evaluate that.
In partnership with Virginia Mason Franciscan Health and the Nick of Time Foundation, the Seahawks are hosting the second annual free youth heart screening event at Virginia Mason Athletic Center in Renton, Saturday, March 8th. This is a public event providing screenings for youth ages 12 to 24 in hopes of detecting heart abnormalities and giving them the knowledge and care they need. Detecting heart conditions early is key, and a simple heart screening could save a life. So don't wait. Spots are limited. Register today at vmfh.org/Seahawks. Speaking of the Seahawks, they have been linked to a couple guys at the Combine, including a quarterback. Hawkblogger's Brian Nemhauser joins us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
We've been going position group by position group. We move on to safeties, Dave. So you got Julian Love, who's entering the first year of a 3-year extension. He had a great season. You got Kobe Bryant in the final year of his rookie deal. Rayshon Jenkins is the most likely cap casualty here because he's got a $7.9 million cap hit. And if they release him, they save $5.4 million. He had some plays, but he didn't have $7.9 million cap hit plays.
I agree.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
Rain, it is like our regional calling card here in the Northwest. And when we get a lot of rain, eventually the earth that our homes are built on, that becomes saturated. And that leads to groundwater intrusion in your crawl space. That's no good. Mike Salk here. And if rain or groundwater is making its way into your crawl space, it can create big problems, including structural damage or toxic mold that ventilates into your home. You don't want any part of it. That's why Crawl Pros can keep your crawl space dry by installing a crawl space drainage system that reroutes all that water back out and away from your home. They'll also inspect the crawl for mold and properly address if there are any signs of danger. Don't take a risk. Do what I did. Have Crawl Pros come out and do a free corner-to-corner inspection and learn if you have any water issues at all. They will go where you don't want to. Certainly where I don't want to. If you're worried about water damage, mold, insulation, critters, issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com to schedule a free inspection. That's crawlpros.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-292-7788. 800-292-7788.
Is that a new Samsung Galaxy A15 5G?
Yeah, I got it for free when I joined Cricket Nation.
Sounds pretty great.
At Cricket, anyone can get a new phone when they switch.
Whoa.
With a high-quality camera, meaning more flattering selfies for all. And super fast 5G, so you can post them for all to see. Your friends, your family, your ex. Free phone! Free phone!
Okay, I'll switch.
Welcome to Cricket Nation.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax to its sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Crafted with precision and timeless elegance, Chris-Craft boats are the epitome of sophistication and performance. Each is a masterpiece designed with superior craftsmanship, exquisite materials. No matter your pleasure, cruising, surfing, or performance from 24 to 35 feet, it's at Chris-Craft Northwest. Look at the rest and experience art in motion. Chris-Craft Northwest. See the difference at the new Chris-Craft Northwest showroom on Lake Union during the open house through March 1st. Visit chriscraftnw.com.
The Gene Simmons Band, live Tuesday, April 8th at Muckleshoot Event Center. He's the God of Thunder. He's going to rock and roll all night and bring you an unforgettable night of head-banging rock and roll. Get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. The Gene Simmons Band, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Good morning, beat freaks. Who's ready to move? Let's start this day right.
Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews.
Lose your phones and find your groove.
They need an ops manager to help their community dance morning away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit GetEthos.com. That's GetEthos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Matthew Stafford will stay with the Rams in 2025. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, LA reached an agreement today on a restructured deal with their quarterback. There had been plenty of trade speculation, particularly after one report from Jordan Schultz said Tom Brady was courting Stafford to the Raiders, but that talk is now over. And in the meantime, teams like the Raiders and Giants are still looking for their starter.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Hawkblogger's Brian Nemhauser joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Brian, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you guys doing?
We are fantastic. It's felt like spring. I feel like the draft is right around the corner. We're still many, many steps out, but so happy to have you on because we have seen some names linked to the Seattle Seahawks. And Brian, I'm trying my best not to read into everything, but it is so hard not to. So I will start with a report this morning. Jackson Dart said it, that he did meet with Seattle staff. How real is it, you think, that they could draft a quarterback?
I don't think it's just from Jackson Dart. When, we had a chance to talk to John Schneider down here, and he was pretty clear that he hopes the draft falls to them in the way that they can take a quarterback. Those are his exact words. And this is something that he's talked about every year. Some people say he's only taken, Alex Magoo in the 7th and Russell in the 3rd. I think he would argue that he traded, the equivalent of a 5th-round pick last year for Sam Howell. So, 3 quarterbacks acquired in all the seasons he's been here. I think he's due for another draft. But this is a kind of challenging class to pull a quarterback out of, and we'll just have to see if there's one that fits Clint Kubiak's system.
Do you see a quarterback in this draft that would fit the system?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Jackson Dart is probably the most obvious of them. He's mobile. He's a guy that really commands respect. I mean, I talked to other players on the Ole Miss team here. J.J. Pegues is a defensive tackle, interesting guy who also plays fullback and wildcat quarterback, and he just had nothing but high praise for Jackson Dart. You don't often have 325-pound defensive tackles that talk that much about their quarterback. So really commands a lot of respect. And then, I think there's a couple other names to at least keep an eye on. One that's probably a little bit more that people know, which is Quinn Ewers. I think there's some folks that believe that John Schneider's interested in him, although Quinn Ewers did not say that he has met with the Seahawks. And the other one that I think is a really intriguing is Tyler Shuck out of Louisville. Looks the part, 6'5", big guy, been in the college for a long time. Great arm, and actually has some legs as well. So, he's one that I wouldn't be surprised if he continues rising up draft boards, and he could be someone that maybe you get, in the 3rd or 4th round. And I think Dart's someone that you'd probably have to spend a 2nd-round pick if he lasts that long.
All right, stepping away from quarterbacks, are there any other names that you have heard the Seahawks be linked to where you think, God, this is hardly an indication that they'll draft them, but I'm really intrigued by this guy?
Well, I mean, the guy that I think the Seahawks fans should be really intrigued by is Nick Manowari, safety. It was 6'3", 225 pounds. And when I asked him, hey, are you familiar with Cam Chancellor's game? He says, not only am I familiar with it, I was coached by Cam Chandler's former coach, and he talks to me about him and compares me to him all the time. He used to be a cornerback. He's a great cover player. He is obviously big enough to play in the box. He said he expects to run 4.3 in the 40 today. If he does that, the Seahawks would have to use a 1st-round pick, and you kind of start putting some things together. And, Rayshon Jenkins out on the trade market, they're going to be looking for another safety. Does Mike McDonald look for his Kyle Hamilton in this draft class?
Yeah, Brian, I watched the film of that young man, and he is smooth, great hands, and when the ball's in his hand, he's gone. But let's talk receivers. I think we're all assuming that Tyler Lockett is not going to be on the squad, right? So you got your 1, hopefully, and 2 with DK and Jason. We'll see how the extension goes. What do you see in the receiver class? Everyone that I've spoken to says, look, it's not as deep as it's been the last few years, but there's still a lot of talent there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of got to pick and choose what you're looking for in this class. And I think it's also a matter, Bump, of figuring out what is it that Kubiak wants, because you're going to see a lot of 21 and 12 personnel with Kubiak, which means it might be DK Metcalf and JSN being the only two receivers on the field. And maybe they like Jake Bobo as a blocking, third receiver there. I talked to Jack Besh today, who's out of TCU. Similar to Bobo in some ways, really great contested catcher, strong route runner. He has not talked to the Seahawks, but a guy that has kind of the opposite build. Jalen Knoll, super speedy, like 5'11", really electric player, could also be a returner. He is confirmed to have met with the Seahawks. So they are kicking the tires on some, but I'd be surprised if they look early. I think in this draft, it's almost a trap to take a receiver as opposed to a tight end. The tight ends are where there's a lot of really interesting talent.
I'm going to stick with the topic of wide receivers and stick with one here in Seattle, DK Metcalf. Brian, I completely get lost in off-season narratives. I can't help it, right? Like Bump and I need 20 hours of radio, and sometimes you stick with a story that's just interesting to you. But I do feel like sometimes I've been wrapped up in like, will Geno stay here? Will DK stay here? And it's like, well, the obvious answer for both feels like absolutely yes. What do you think happens with DK?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's reports out there even today of, hey, there's teams checking on DK. And it's like, well, yeah, the sky's blue. So, I mean, everyone's always going to be asking. This is a very weak free agent class for receiver. It's a very weak, I think a weak-ish wide receiver class in the draft. So what does that mean? Everyone's going to be looking for, how do I find a difference maker at the receiver position? There's a lot of young quarterbacks in the NFL. Of course, they're going to come looking for one of the most physically imposing receivers in the NFL that's on the last year of his deal. But, guys, I met with Mike McDonald every week of this season. I've heard how he talks about players, and he's generally not the most effusive guy. There's a few players where his voice and his inflection changes. One of them's Devin Witherspoon. Another of them's DK Metcalf. And I cannot see him. They made their whole interview process around with Clint Kubiak and the offensive coordinator, how people were going to accentuate DK Metcalf. So John Schneider has no plans on getting rid of him. If some team offers some crazy deal, is it possible? Sure. But that's probably the case with every single player on the roster. So I expect DK Metcalf to be in Seattle, and I think he's going to be a central part in what they're doing.
Hey, Brian, we've been sitting here going through scenarios, right? And it's gotten even more complicated. You mentioned the young safety. We're talking about Jackson Dart, and then we're trying to figure out, okay, what's the value of guards in this draft? People are expecting the Hawks to maybe take a guard at 18, or is it just the best possible player out there? What's your hunch? What do you think is going to happen? Are they going to go position specific, or are they just going to go grab the best talent out there?
Yeah, that's such a great question, Bump, because honestly, one of the things I was a little bit, curious about is, John Schneider's talked about how he's modified his draft strategy, and that need was something that they maybe overweighted in the past, and they draft what they needed too early, and they missed out on some good players. And after they made that adjustment, they've had 3 pretty good drafts, especially the first few rounds the last 3 years. But this year, there's so much pressure to do something on the offensive line. Are they really going to be able to hold their water if someone drops to them that they really like that isn't an offensive lineman? And I asked John Schneider about it. I asked Mike McDonald on my show about it, and both of them reiterated that is the place where mistakes are made. If a great player falls to them that is not an offensive lineman, that's not a clear need, look at the world champion Eagles. When they have the biggest depth on offensive line or on defensive line, they still add to it every single year. So I think that you can expect them to take the best player, but they're absolutely in the first two picks of this draft. One of them has to be an offensive lineman.
Earlier this week, you guys got to chat with John Schneider and Mike McDonald. And what I like about being able to talk to reporters like you out there at the Combine is that sometimes they say interesting stuff off the podium. And, there's some extra details you guys get from either of those two conversations. It could just be something from Schneider or just something from McDonald. Is there something that kind of stuck with you for a couple days or was especially interesting?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things. I think the thing that was most interesting to me is I've kind of asked both Coach McDonald and John Schneider about they have a very young offensive line. I haven't done the math yet to compare it, but I would bet it's one of the youngest offensive lines in the NFL. Yeah. And, do they think that the solution to get this to be a better offensive line is to add another rookie to it, or do they need more experience? John Schneider was very definitive that they need more experience. I connect that as well with some of the things he said about center. They haven't really mentioned Olu Oluwatimi as much as I would expect. They've actually both mentioned Jalen Sundell more than they've mentioned Olu. And so I'm a little curious if, one, Jalen Sundell may be in the running for center or guard in this new outside zone that they're going to be running. And also whether Drew Dahlman, the free agent center who specializes in outside zone, whether he's going to be their top free agent target. It wouldn't surprise me if that becomes the case.
Do you think the scouting and evaluation process changes now when it comes to the offensive lineman? Because we're looking at that wide zone. You got to have guards who can, that first step to the right or to the left is quick and climb up there to that second level. Whereas with Grubb, it was more of like an inside zone type of look, more bulkier type of guys. Do you see a change in their evaluation when it comes to the O-line?
100%. And actually, they both talked about that as well. Running off the ball, a big part of this type of blocking scheme, as you know, Bump, is beating a man to a spot as opposed to, Mike McDonald said, expecting a lineman to overpower an NFL defensive lineman time and time again on, gap scheme kind of stuff is a tall order. And so, getting out to the edge, making guys run and move on defense is something that they're going to be looking for. But John Schneider also was quick to point out there's been mistakes made with this kind of offense in the past where you get a little too light and then all of a sudden the pocket's collapsing in the middle. So he's aware of that. So I wouldn't assume it's all just going to be these, old Denver Broncos style 270-pound offensive linemen out there. But, there's some really interesting names. Gray Zabel's a good example. Donovan Jackson's a good example. I think Armand Membu, who probably won't be there for them at 18, is maybe the ideal Seahawks pick at 18 because not only can he be a legitimate starting right tackle in case Abe Lucas has some problems, but he could be potentially the best and most mauling guard in this whole class. So I think there's a lot of interesting options. Kelvin Banks is the last one I'd throw out there that really is active and able to target defenders on the move.
I hear a lot of fans say, the Seahawks are middling or they're just kind of in the middle. But I think middle bad and middle good are very, very different teams. I tend to think they're like middle good, right? Like you missed the playoffs by a fifth tiebreaker. At the same time, you feel miles away from a team like Philly. So kind of a big question. But Brian, one I know that you've discussed a ton is how close are the Seahawks? I mean, what are those next steps?
Yeah, I think you're right in that they're middle good, but I also think it's fair to say that they're a distance away. You look at the games where they played the best teams last year, and most of them weren't particularly competitive. So I asked, John Schneider that question, like, what's the biggest gap and how do you close that this offseason to be a contender? And, they definitely talked about the trenches on both sides of the ball. And I think if you look at what they've done, 3 years ago, we would have been having a conversation about the defensive line and the offensive line being one of the worst in the NFL. They have invested, and now I think you can legitimately say the defensive line is maybe one of the top 5 in the NFL. They have a chance to add to it this draft and make it even better. So now their attention can start to turn to the offense in a more deliberate way. And look, Christian Haynes, I know people are down on his rookie year. I know his coaches at UConn cheered when Clint Kubiak got hired because he is such a good fit for this outside zone. I think he could take a big step forward. They only need one of those young guards to really take a step forward. Satoa Lamea, maybe Jalen Sundell, and then add a veteran to it. And if they decide that they get a Drew Dahlman and you've got a veteran in the middle who's a really elite outside zone run blocker, and then you got some younger players at guards, and then you've got veterans now, Charles Cross, Dave Lucas qualify as veterans on the outside, you could have something that really starts to develop, and they've got more developmental coaches on that staff that all know the system and all can work with those players individually than they've really ever had. So I think they've put the pieces in place to take that step forward, and we'll see if this coaching staff can really team with the personnel to execute on that plan.
Yeah, I feel you 100%, Brian. You need one of those guards to hit. You get one of those young fellas to figure it out, and you add a veteran, you could be on to something. Let's go just NFC West. As I know you've heard already, Matthew Stafford's coming back to the Rams. What does that do to the division?
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating, and you wonder whether Seahawks fans were rooting for Stafford to leave or Stafford to stay because, Matthew Stafford, if you look at his film last year, he had a pretty poor season. There was a lot of really poor games. He looked like age was catching up to him. He had a fabulous playoff performance, both games that he played. And so the question now is the Rams are committed to that money. So they're going to be good with him, most likely. But if they could have gotten a first-round pick, maybe even a next year's first-round pick from a Giants team or a Raiders team, and then ended up with, Arch Manning or some other great young quarterback, that could have set the Rams up to be one of the, the best, most, stacked teams for the coming year. So I think that, yes, Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback, but he's also 37 and he's shown signs of stepping back. So I'm not sure it changes a whole lot. I think for the Seahawks really should have beat the Rams the first time with Matthew Stafford. The amount of mistakes the Seahawks had to make that were almost like the worst case scenario of a lottery to lose that game was pretty crazy. And I think the Seahawks have to feel pretty good about their chances of competing with the Rams going into next year.
All right, Brian, last question for me, and it's your easiest one yet. I know that you have a ton of stuff coming out of the Combine, obviously a ton leading up to the draft. So tell listeners not just where they can find more from you, but maybe some cool products you got working on.
Yeah, the best place right now is youtube.com at Hawkblogger. I've got over 35 videos of player interviews from the Combine here. A bunch more shows I've done with Lindsey Rhodes and, all sorts of great folks here. And we'll have more coming. So after this, I'm heading over to Lucas Oil to watch Nick Manowari, see if he can run that 4.3 40, and we'll tell everybody about that. So, yeah, you can find me there and find me at Hawkblogger pretty much everywhere else, Instagram, TikTok, all the places.
Well, we'll be waiting for an update from you. He is Hawkblogger's Brian Nemhauser. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya. Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Imagine if he does run a 4.3. Not Brian.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
Sign him.
First down. What do you love about Shedeur Sanders, and what do you think he can potentially learn fairly quickly in the NFL?
I love this man's confidence. I love how he's not changing for anybody. We're sitting here watching the Combine. He's got his 2 chains on, backwards cap, like, just be you. Right, you've been this way your whole life, and it's gotten you so far. So I love that about him. I love his confidence. I also think that there are some things that might be hard for him. There are 190,000 D1 players. There's 2,016 NFL players. The talent is going to be better. I understand he's overcome a lot. He's had like 4 or 5 different coordinators and been able to execute. And his support will be different. His dad ain't going to be there. His brother ain't going to be there. And he operated kind of as like the buff CEO. You had your dad as a president and he was the CEO. It's just going to be different. He can achieve CEO status in the NFL, but it takes a long time and it takes high performance. It's just going to be different. But here's what's working for him. We have seen back-to-back years of 2 of the best rookie seasons out of quarterbacks we've ever seen. First, it was C.J. Stroud, 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, completed 63% of his passes, and he got a playoff win. And then this year, we saw Jaden Daniels, 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, completed 69% of his passes, and had 891 rush yards, 6 touchdowns, and made it to the conference championship. I'm going to say the success of those 2 guys have contributed to the confidence that Shedeur already has. Right now, he's one of the more confident players out there. So I'm just interested. I'm not rooting against the guy. I'm rooting for the guy, but I also think that whatever situation he goes to, it might be a bit different than the Commanders with Quinn and that talent over there, and C.J. Stroud and the Texans and DeMarco Ryans. Am I saying right? Yeah, DeMeco Ryans over there. So it's just different. So I'm rooting for him. I hope that confidence shows on the football field. But wherever he might go to Cleveland, it might be to the Titans, it might be to the Jets, Vegas. It's just a different situation. So I am interested. Love his confidence. And if we were to see back-to-back-to-back seasons with just rookie quarterbacks going off, man, it's going to be crazy.
Second down. What event is equivalent to a specific Summer Olympics event at the Combine, and who should NFL fans be watching?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that track and field gets the most eyes, at least in America at one point, when they had the 100-meter finals, 200-meter finals, men's, women. It doesn't matter. So I'm looking at the 40-yard dash. There's this young man who went to the University of Texas, Isaiah Bond. He says he is going to run a 4.2 or a 4-run. He's been tracked in training running a 4.23. So look for Isaiah Bond. There's some other names that people are expecting to run fast. You have Arian Smith, a wide receiver out of Georgia. He's been clocked out of 4.2. You have Tess Johnson out of Oregon, the brother of Bo Nix. Nix. He's projected to run a 4.2. You have a running back from Tennessee, Dylan Sampson. He's projected to run a 4.3. I just named 3 guys who are projected to run a 4.2. Back in 2008, when I didn't get the invite to the NFL Combine, but I'm watching these guys run their 40s. Yeah, Chris Johnson run a 4.2. You had Rogers Cromartie run a 4.2 as well. These young men are getting faster and faster and faster. It's crazy. So if there's any event that I tune in for every single year, it's the 40-yard dash, because it feels like the 100 meters, like I'm watching Noah Lyles try to capture the gold medal. And I think a lot of people like to watch this too. There's already been a linebacker out of UCLA to run a 4.3. I'm telling you, these positions are getting crazier. These young men are getting faster. It's fun to watch. So watch the 40. You got some names: Isaiah Bond, Arian Smith, Tez Johnson, and Dylan Sampson.
Those records are being broken so quickly. Not quickly, but you thought it would be Chris Johnson just forever. Then John Ross does it. And in my mind, I was like, oh, what was John Ross's time? Oh, wait, no, Xavier Worthy broke it. It's 4.21, and that was just last season. God, third down. Jackson Dart compared himself to an NFL quarterback. Who is it, and do you agree?
So my man said he models his game after Jalen Hurts. And I've watched some film on Jackson Dart already, and I had to go back and say, all right, let's see if his game looks like Jalen Hurts. First, let's start with the measurables. They're about the same size. Dart is 6'2", 225. Hurts is 6'1", 223. Then I started looking at the release of the football, how they throw the rock. It's similar. It's crazy how similar it is. And then you look at the offense that they are in. Dart over there at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin runs a lot of RPOs. We do that over there with the Eagles. They also run a lot of play action off the split zone look. They do the same. I don't think he is as fast as Jalen Hurts, but he has that smoothness to him. Like when you look at Jalen Hurts run, you don't think, man, he's explosive. You think he's smooth. He's got that speed. He's like that Cadillac. Once it gets going, man, it's coasting. That's what I see out of Jackson Dart. The more film I watch out of Jackson Dart, the more I like. What I don't want is for him to catapult and be like the number 2 quarterback. I think that should be locked up already. Shadur Sanders and Cam Ward. But he's clearly the number 3 to me. Number 3, him. Then I put Ewers at 4, and then I put McCord at 5. But Jackson Dart, he's intriguing, and now he's been linked to the Seattle Seahawks, so you know I'm going to dive even deeper and watch more film. He has a calm demeanor about his style out there. He never looks panicked or rushed. He looks like he knows where he's going with the football. He compared himself to Jalen Hurts. I can see it. I was ready to look at this film and be like, kid, you're tripping, Jalen Hurts. What you talking about? No, that's the perfect comparison. The measurables are the same. The release is the same. The way they run, they're similar styles. He's a bigger quarterback stick. He's got a good lower half. It's a good comparison.
Fourth down. Anything sticking with you with our conversation with Brian?
Yeah, I got excited listening to Brian talk about the offensive line and how the players that are on this roster already kind of fit the scheme that Kubiak wants to do. Christian Haynes is a smaller center/guard. That's perfect for the outside zone. And there's a sweet spot when it comes to that size of that guard center spot if you're running outside zone, because you don't want to be too small, you don't want to be too big, but you got to have feet and be able to get to that second level. He also mentioned that Sundell has been getting a lot more love than he thought he would be getting. That was interesting as well. Here's the thing. We've seen so many of these young guys play already that we have an idea what they can do, and you put them in a new offense, it might highlight them. I like that he liked the personnel that we have at offensive line in Kubiak's offense. You still got to get a veteran to help this crew out, but this is a good starting point. You got a lot of guys who have played already. They're not the biggest guys in the world. Some of them, LeMay was a big human being. But, no, I like that he thinks it's a good fit for this Kubiak wide zone look.
Bump, I know that you watched the UFL, and we are a month away from the start of the new season, but I do have some bad news for you and fans who are excited for its return. They're missing a pretty important part of the recipe right now. So we'll tell you what's going on there. Plus, LeBron James was asked who will be the next face of the NBA and gave a much different answer than what was expected. That's all coming your way next.
Seattle Sports is heading to Arizona for spring training baseball.
Knowing every night when you go out there you're going to get a great pitching outing is tremendous.
Go behind the scenes with Wyman and Bob as the Seattle Mariners get ready for the 2025 season. All next week from 2 to 7.
Back she goes, going and going. Goodbye, baseball. He did it. Julio Rodriguez.
And hear every pitch of spring training baseball on Seattle Sports. Streaming on the Seattle Sports app.
Holy smokes.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. The season's first tryout for adults ages 18 to 65 and older is this Sunday, March 2nd at Hogan Park at Russell Road in Kent. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-little leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Riereka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Discover LeMay, America's car museum in Tacoma. Explore 300 world-class cars, 100 years of history, and a Shinka exhibit with 50 iconic Japanese sports cars. Thrilling race simulators and fun for the whole family. Visit americascarmuseum.org.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
The wait is over. Hey, it's your old pal, the Garage here. Inviting you to come celebrate the grand reopen of Jackson Park's driving range. They are throwing a party and everyone is invited. They'll have new range balls, mats, and targets, music on the range, and face painting for the kids, so bring the whole family. Free top tracer all weekend long as well. That's right. Free top tracer all weekend long as well. How about free 10-minute lessons after 2 p.m., food specials, and of course, plenty to drink. All day Saturday, the grand reopening of Jackson Park's spanking new driving range.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Progressive knows we all crave validation.
Girl, you are not 37.
I would have guessed 27.
You guys are too sweet.
Sure, dewy skin. Terrific.
Is something wrong, Ned?
Why would you ask? Just because today marks my 10th anniversary without a car accident or even a speeding ticket? But somehow, tonight's all about your skincare.
Wow. With Snapshot from Progressive, you can get a personalized rate based on how you drive. And that's all the validation you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Things are just better when you switch to Cricket. The sun shines a little brighter. Happy music starts randomly playing. Best of all, you can get iPhone 13 for just $29.99. With the ultra-bright Super Retina display and up to 19 hours of video playback, all on Cricket's super-fast 5G network. See? Isn't that better? Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new account imported on $60 plan. First service charge, tax with sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Hey, do you like spending extra money? Who doesn't, right? No, nobody does, and especially when it's on something like your utility bills, right? If those are noticeably higher in the winter or your home feels drafty, it could be because your attic and crawl space aren't properly insulated. It's Mike Salk here, and utility companies have special incentives to help with the cost of having your home properly insulated, including a once-in-a-lifetime rebate from Puget Sound Energy. So if you're a PSC customer and your home was built before 1990, you may qualify to receive a rebate on up to 95% 10% of the cost to properly insulate your crawl space and attic. Yeah, they'll cover up to 95% of the cost. So don't wait. Take advantage of an incredible rebate today. Call Crawl Pros and learn what's going on behind that crawl space and attic hatch for free, and also what energy rebates you're eligible for. These guys are great. Did an awesome job at my house. So if you're worried about critters, mold, water damage, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, reading you the top stories you're going to see on your own timeline. We're going to start with this one out of the NBA. LeBron James was asked about who will be the next face of the league and gave a much different answer than what was expected.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but I don't know. Why do you want to be the face of the league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? Have that responsibility. It's just weird. It's weird energy from the people that I don't know. But
yeah, that's not the answer I'd expect either. What this is a softball question to LeBron, who's widely respected, trying to get him to give credit to some young stars. Hey, who do you think is the next guy? Where do you see this talent? And his response instead is, why does everyone hate the NBA? Who would even want to be the face of this league?
He also mentioned that Anthony Edwards said he didn't want it. And Anthony Edwards did say that. He kind of pointed towards Wembley, but he said it in a trolling type of manner, right? And if you know anything about Anthony Edwards, half of what he says is serious, half of it is just whatever. Here's the thing with LeBron.
Okay.
You have to understand the era in which you are performing in. LeBron's been in the league, 21 years?
That's crazy.
He was in the league before there was Twitter, social media, and all of that. And you get praise when you only have a certain amount of journalists out there and newspapers or whatnot and magazines. They're not going to write articles about your bad games. They're only going to talk about your good games. And if I'm LeBron, I've been praised so much in my career. You kidding me? He's the leading scorer of all time. He's been to 10 NBA finals. He's got 4 rings. He's got 4 MVPs. He's got, I think, a scoring title. We praise LeBron. Where he's getting it mixed up are the people who just have a phone and just say stuff. If it's going to bother you that much, don't pick up your dang phone. And opinions from people you respect are the ones that should mean something to you. It's a different time, LeBron, and it sounds super soft for him to go, who would want him when everyone just talk. What are you talking about? Steph just dropped 56 last night. I'm talking about it, 12 and 19 from 3. What do you mean? The Joker dropped it triple-double the other day. You got Luka, who's doing great things. He's focusing on the wrong things. And you sound really soft, LeBron, at this point. You are the face of the NBA. You are considered top 3 minimum of all time. Toughen up, Buttercup. This is just the way the world is. People talk crap about me all the time, whether it be on Twitter or on the text line. So what? I don't care about those opinions. He got to toughen up, man. I was so disappointed here, LeBron, with this take.
Well, and let's say that there are some critical opinions coming from people you do respect or people who are NBA insiders. All they're doing is what anyone would do for any league, right? I can't wait for baseball to start. I would be devastated if baseball did not exist. I can also lament certain things about the product, say that I miss certain things, I wish that strikeouts were penalized in any way, just so that people weren't totally fine with them. There was a little more offense. I wish that it was a little less regional and easier to access games. That doesn't mean I hate the product.
Mm-hmm.
It just means that there are probably NBA insiders, sports insiders who say the same thing you and Curtis were talking about. Hey, some cookie cutter offenses right now, I have some issues with the league. It doesn't mean they hate the product.
It's honest. What are we seeing? And there are some people out there, let's not get it twisted. There are some people out there who are just out there to hate. And I can sniff those guys out from a mile away. Whether it's on the text line, whether it's on Twitter, on Instagram, your whole motivation is to hate. And you know what your opinion means to me? Absolutely nothing. Now, if you come in with some real analysis and an opinion, even if I don't agree with it, I might listen and respect it. I think LeBron just didn't getting too caught up in the things that don't really matter, the people who don't really matter. The NBA has been celebrated, and it will be celebrated. And what they did last summer in Paris enhanced the way people look at this game. Around here, they might not like it because there's no Seattle Supersonics here, and you feel a certain way about it. But for him to let a percentage of people determine the way he feels about everybody who covers basketball is ridiculous to me.
Next story. We are a month away from the start of the UFL, but will they have any quarterbacks? All 24 quarterbacks are holding out. This story from Ben Fisher of the Sports Business Journal. Players are disappointed that they received what they called a negligible increase to their base salaries. The base salary for players in the UFL is about $55,000. They also are fighting for year-round health coverage. Fisher says players believe the inadequate increase in salary and lack of year-round health insurance is unreasonable considering the UFL's substantial investment this offseason in marketing and sales staff and a 111,000 square foot lease for its football operations headquarters. Basically, players are seeing money spent elsewhere and saying, but you're not increasing our salaries at all. If you did make money, I feel like some of it should go back to the players, is their argument. The league's first game is scheduled for March 28th.
The players should get a good kickback. I promise you this. If the facilities were not as great and the accommodations were not as great, but they got paid more money, they'd take that. Or if they got insurance all year, health insurance, they would take that. You have to protect your product on the football field. And, $55,000 to play football is crazy to me. It's absolutely nuts. Now, the reason why people take that salary is with the hopes to maybe get into the NFL and making more money. And if your quarterbacks are getting paid $55,000, the guys who make this thing go, something's wrong with your business plan. I don't know your pockets. I don't know your money. I don't know what the profit loss is for this business, but you have to take care of your products. I'm glad that the quarterbacks are holding out because they're the ones that can move the needle a bit.
Exactly. So you still have, you'll find pictures of some players reporting or players still showing up, but what we're gathering is it's a protest staged by the quarterbacks because they know that they hold more power. And it's like, you guys can still show up and practice. You're not going to lose your job, but we know that we can command some more attention on this effort if we sit out.
Yeah, you ain't just going to find quarterbacks off the block like that.
Yeah.
They're hard to find.
I mean, honestly, to get all 24 quarterbacks, which is 3 per team.
United we stand.
That's crazy. Next up. Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer couldn't help but poke fun at his time in Seattle during his NFL press conference.
I think offensively you try to build it, based on what your guys do well. I got in trouble for letting Russ cook a little bit back in Seattle. But some people got the joke, some people didn't.
Obviously, when Brian Schottenheimer got here, I mean, he was made fun of for a couple different things. I specifically remember him saying something like, we're going to run the ball even when people expect we're going to run it, and he was dragged for that.
I like it. And he was letting Russ cook.
He was.
40 touchdowns, 4,200 yards, 68% completion rate. He broke franchise records over here, but he did it in a way that, Pete Carroll didn't see as conducive to winning championships. What we have seen over the past few seasons is that Pete was probably right. Mike McDonald is right. You got to be able to run that thing in between the tackles once you get into December and January. And I'm interested to see if he's able to do that over there with the Dallas Cowboys. But big ups to Shotty, man. He good job, making fun of himself, I guess.
You think there's a chance he surprises people? He was easily the most panned hire around the league, which is interesting because you have guys that are going to be first-time head coaches that haven't proven anything. Schottenheimer, obviously one of them, but at least he's been a long-time coordinator. He's had successful offenses. He's failed, but he's also found success. I feel like maybe because it's the Cowboys, people were hoping for Dion, and a not flashy name was disappointing no matter who it was. But what if there's an avenue where he finds success?
Who's Rico Dowdle?
Rico Dowdle?
Yeah, exactly. He's
Cowboys
the running back for the Cowboys.
Oh, running
he went
back?
for 1,000 yards, but nobody really knows who he is, right?
Yeah.
So it's just
He wasn't on my fantasy
the
team.
talent is so top heavy. There's like 3 or 4 guys over there who are really good. Then everything else kind of just falls to the wayside. That's going to be the problem over there with Shotty. But he's going to be criticized. Any move that the Dallas Cowboys made that wasn't Deion Sanders or Bill Belichick, it was going to be criticized. So he'll be all right. We'll see what he does over there.
All right, time for the IRG Injury Report brought to you by IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. Mariners infielder Julio Rodriguez has been out the last 2 days after rolling his left ankle on a practice field. Per MLB.com's Daniel Kramer, the team is optimistic he'll be back in a few days, so that's good news. Coming up at noon, we're going to take a listen to some Julio sound. Julio spoke with Brock and Salk earlier this morning at spring training, and you don't get many Julio interviews, so I'm very excited to take a listen to see everything we learned from the Mariners star center fielder. We're going to take a look around the NFL, obviously some Stafford news, and a quarterback linked to the Seahawks. That's coming up at 12:30. We are opening up phone lines today at 1, so just stay tuned for that. We'll get you ready for that one, give you the question, give you the call-in number a little bit later. First, how wild will this year's NFL trade market be? That's next.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
We are now speaking with the architect of your Seattle Seahawks.
How we doing, football fans?
With Seahawks President of Football Operations and General Manager John Schneider.
My job is to do what's best for the Seattle Seahawks organization. I have to keep wrapping my mind around that and trying to communicate effectively.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
What's the standard the Seahawks defense needs to be held to under Mike McDonald?
The John Schneider Show.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Stacy Ross here. If you're like me, you've been putting off getting a new car for years. Maybe you don't want to take time to shop or don't feel comfortable with more spending, and I get it. But I finally had some repairs for my car that felt like too much to overcome. So I pulled the trigger on a new vehicle, and I knew just where to go. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. I went over the selection of new and used vehicles at wayscarford.com. A ton of Ford models like Broncos and Escapes, but also models from Kia, Chevrolet, Toyota, and more, all at amazing prices. The shopping experience in person was amazing too. You guys know how much trust matters when you're shopping for a new car, so I knew I could depend on Wayscar Ford, a company that's been in business for over 100 years in Auburn. I ended up with a 2024 Bronco Sport, and I'm obsessed. In hindsight, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. Heated seats, a heated steering wheel, and four-wheel drive in the winter has been a game changer. So head to wayscarford.com to check out the selection yourself. I know you'll enjoy the process as much as I did. That's Wayscar Ford in Auburn, wayscarford.com.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 206-529-1111 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Don't waste time trying to get rid of your old or broken car. Cars for Kids is the easiest and fastest way to donate your car and get a tax deduction. Go to carsforkids.org today. That's cars with a K.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. It's Mike Salk here, and this summer you can experience breathtaking Cascade views, world-class dining, and of course the best entertainment. Elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost in relaxation. The hotel opens this summer with deluxe king and 2 queen rooms, premiums, grand suites, signature suites, and the breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. For more details, go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
We were the Humane Society of the United States. 70 years of fighting for animals. Today, we are called Humane World for Animals, a name that reflects our unstoppable commitment to end animal cruelty globally. Humane World for Animals, the end of animal cruelty.
Something amazing is happening when power outages strike. Teams are powering through them. That's because CDW Solutions architects are building more resilient IT and electrical infrastructures with Schneider Electric. With EcoCare remote monitoring services and 24/7 support, your organization can do more than keep the lights on. Schneider Electric and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Schneider Electric.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, Price Lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and switch to the expensive shampoo with amino acids. Sure, you don't know what those are or why you need them, but it sounds very impressive. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can massage it into your scalp every day. Now, if only you can get people to lean toward your head to smell those aminos. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shampoo. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
ESPN's Benjamin Solak began his latest column with, if you're reading this and you're an NFL player, there's a chance you've received the okay to seek a trade this offseason, which I thought was really funny, but also very telling for kind of a weird offseason. It's a slightly weaker free agent class. Not the strongest draft class, and some major names are being connected to other teams via trade. We can now take Matthew Stafford out of the conversation, who signed or agreed to a restructured deal with LA this morning. But still, Cooper Kupp, Myles Garrett, T. Higgins, Micah Parsons, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel. I mean, there are some major names who could be on the move. Bump, I'll start with just which one of these, and including some I didn't name, feel the most realistic to you, where you've kind of settled on, this guy's going to play with a new team in 2025.
Oh, Cooper Kupp, for sure.
Yeah.
I think Cooper Kupp is out of there. He's, I forgot what his cap hit was or like is over there. Yeah, it's just a lot, and he hasn't had the production because of injury. And, you know, he comes off a great season, Triple Crown winner. You win a Super Bowl championship. Should have been MVP that year, in my opinion. I forgot who won it. Was it Lamar? I don't know. But I felt like if a receiver was going to get it, it was that year. So we ain't going to get it, receivers. Just calm down. But I'm looking at Cooper Kupp because I think that there's more left. I watched his film, and he's still creating separation. He still has great tempo in his route running. He is still a willing blocker. He's a good ball player. Is he the guy that we saw 3-4 years ago? No, but he can be a good number two for a team. And I think that teams across the league are looking for number twos. You can look at the Patriots, what they're going to do over there. Jacksonville has some talent with Brian Thomas over there and Christian Kirk, but I think they could use some help as well. You look at the New York Football Giants. You got Malik Neighbors. Who else are you going to have over there? Then you can go into the gutter. Then you can go to New Orleans. And you can go to Carolina, who ended their season on a better note. And also, I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. Mike Evans is getting up there in age. So a number two receiver is needed almost anywhere, right? Most of the good teams already have their ones and twos, but I think there's a lot of space for two out there.
Benjamin said, assuming the Rams do keep Stafford, which we now know they have, they shouldn't trade Kupp for anything less than a solid day two pick, with his main point being what I mentioned earlier, you're in win now mode. You already know that Cooper fits excellently in your offense, and he's taken a step back, but we'll also have an offseason of rest and recovery and rehab where he can kind of bounce back a little bit. Trade him, and you're still left needing a weapon offensively. Yeah, and I also think that because of the offense that the Rams run, you can find yourself a young receiver like a Ricky Pearsall over there for the 49ers, right? I think it was drafted late in the first round or early second round anyway.
that type of receiver could be out there for you. You have your number one type of guy over there. I think they still have to sign Demarcus Robinson. He's about 30 years old over there with the Rams. We'll see if they re-sign him. But if they do, I think they're looking at that 1-2 combo and thinking to themselves, we should be okay in this situation. We don't have to pay that much for a Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
A name that can only go to a few places is Myles Garrett. He will only and should only go to teams that are contending for championships. So if we look in the AFC, I doubt they trade within their division. You got Baltimore, you have Cincinnati, you have the Buffalo Bills, you also have, obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think a team like the Los Angeles Chargers, we feel like are closer to being contenders than they have been in the past few years because of the Harbaugh signing, could use a guy like him as well. You look at the NFC, I'm looking at teams like, obviously, Philadelphia. Again, if he were to go to Philadelphia, okay, Roger Goodell, you veto that thing. Now you say, no, you're not going to Philly. You're already too good. Or you can look at a place like the Chicago Bears where they're on the rise. You have a quarterback and some weapons over there, need to improve defensively. And then almost worst case scenario, if they added him to the Los Angeles Rams. They ain't got money like that, though. I don't think they do, but that would be devastating. And then, man, one more, the Washington Commanders as well.
I mean, that's why, to me, Cooper Kupp has essentially said goodbye. Like, he's the one likeliest of all of these guys to be on the move. We are all under the expectation Cooper Kupp is playing with a new team. Myles Garrett's the most impactful. He is the most, it feels weird to say, talented player on this list, on a list full of all pros and Pro Bowlers, but it feels likely, to your point, not only that he could be dealt, but to an NFC team, and that team is no matter what going to be in Seattle's way. If Seattle's not contending this year, well, then they're going to have their eye on 26, and Myles Garrett's still going to be on that team, right? Like, whoever he goes to isn't just set up for 2025. They're going to be in the way. That's their plan for a while. So it all matters.
And how stubborn are the Browns going to be with this?
Oh, I think Myles Garrett would hold out.
Yeah, because I think he's made enough money. He's what, his fifth year of $125 million, so he's pocketed at least $100 million. So he's okay in that department. And he's at a position to where you don't have to be 25, 26, 27 years old to be effective. I think he's going to be fine. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, just let him go, man, because what you're going to do is just hurt the development of your ball club in general by having a guy not show up, empty spot, and just the whole aura and vibe of your franchise is going to be even worse now that you have that problem to deal with and you're still dealing with Deshaun Watson.
Brian mentioned with us earlier that it's kind of a weak free agent class for wide receivers as well, not the strongest draft class. And so maybe these top targets, DK, Deebo Samuel, Cooper Kupp, T. Higgins, are all on the move. He didn't think that DK would be going anywhere. He was like, I mean, when you hear Mike McDonald and John Schneider talk about this offense, they mentioned DK.
Yeah.
No one's pretending he's not here. No one's talking around it. It would have to be a monumental offer, and then maybe you consider it.
He's still signed.
Yes.
He's not a free agent.
No, but I do think a good receiver can very quickly boost, I don't want to say a bad team, but if you have, like, I think of Sam Darnold and what Sam Darnold was able to do in Minnesota. Yes, in part being playing behind a good offensive line. Kevin O'Connell, great play caller. He also had two amazing wide receivers.
Yeah. Wide receiver ain't going to put you over the top. It's not going to be the piece to start a movement. Let me rephrase that. It's not going to be a piece to start a movement, but it could be a piece that takes your offense to just a different level. And I think DK can be that for any team that doesn't have Justin Jefferson and Addison, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. What other two combos out there? T. Higgins, if he goes back into Jamar Chase. There are only a few places where that 1-2 combo is so deadly. Texans with Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins. There aren't too many great 1-2 combos out there, and DK services could be needed. But you're right. When we hear these guys talk about the Seahawk offense, DK's involved. Geno is involved. Like, DK cannot get an extension and they just keep it the way it is and not take any trade offers. He has to play. He's going to be here. And then maybe next year, he maybe balls out this year and you got to pay even more. The thing is, you want to try to get ahead of just a just astronomical type of contract. If he were to go out there next year and drop $1,310, yeah, you for sure going to be in them 30s.
You think DK plays if he doesn't get an extension? I don't.
I think he does.
Really? If they don't give him an extension, you think he goes out?
He ain't made enough money yet. He ain't made enough money yet to sit out. This would be his, third year under this contract, so he'd be pretty much throwing away $24 million.
So much leverage, way more leverage than a player typically would on a team.
I don't think so. How many times have you seen people making the type of money that DK is going to make sit out? And DK, because DK is not, he's not like, Myles Garrett is getting about the same, but you don't see many players making $24 million a year sit out. They've learned from Le'Veon Bell sitting out making $14 million a year.
You don't see many players sit out. Like, you'll see holdouts into training camp. Brandon Ayuk, like a million examples of that. But I think he holds out of camp for sure.
That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I guess I just assumed, like, obviously he's going to sit out. Like he's got to protect himself.
That's money. You leaving $24 million on the table?
Woo!
Heck no.
The latest from Julio Rodriguez next.
Brock and Salk, live in Peoria.
Our opportunity to sit down with the catcher, Cal Raleigh.
Is this the ceiling, or do you think that there is more in the tank?
No, there's more. There's plenty of parts of my game I want to improve on. You look at, like, striking out less, more balls in play, a little more better with the average. Even the catching side of it, throwing out more runners. Is there any kind of way I can get better in the leadership side? Things like that. So there's a lot more in the tank, and you also don't want to lose the thing you're good at.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found in G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello. Welcome to Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name. It's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
Ladies, and you guys too, have you noticed visible signs of aging, those deep wrinkles, fine lines, and facial creases stealing your youthful glow? Sagging skin, crow's feet, and loss of facial contour are all natural effects of aging, but you no longer have to let them define your appearance. Introducing the New Skin Lift, the groundbreaking facelift led by Dr. Brian Scott. The advanced New Skin Lift addresses key signs of facial aging for women and men, restoring natural youthful contours. Whether it's replenishing volume lost over time or lifting the skin to smooth out those creases, the New Skin Lift can help you look 10 to 20 years younger with both surgical and non-surgical options. It's Hollywood's best kept secret, and now available to you. Get a free consultation and save $250 off your New Skin facelift. Schedule at newskinlift.com or 206-222-1225. Look 10 to 20 years younger and restore your youthful appearance with the New Skin facelift. newskinlift.com.
Crafted with precision and timeless elegance, Chris Craft boats are the epitome of sophistication and performance. For cruising, surfing, and pure pleasure, visit the new Chris Craft Northwest showroom on Lake Union during the open house through March 1st.
This is a test of your emergency alert system.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb. Expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer, $149 or less, ends soon. One expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Matthew Stafford will stay with the Rams in 2025. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, LA reached an agreement today on a restructured deal with their quarterback. There have been plenty of trade speculation, particularly after one report that Tom Brady was courting Stafford to the Raiders, but that talk is over now. In the meantime, teams like the Raiders and Giants are still looking for their starters. Some interesting news from the Combine. The Seahawks have met with a quarterback. Ole Miss standout Jackson Dart confirmed meeting with Seattle staff.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Julio Rodriguez talked balance, outfield chemistry, and keeping things simple during an interview with Brock and Salk. That aired this morning. Good stuff from Julio. And these interviews with Julio are not especially common, so it's always really interesting to finally hear from him and ask him about, for one, all the pressure that he's facing. That's still very true, and there's even more now after an offseason of mostly inactivity. First, Julio's reflection on last year.
Well, I learned a lot of things about myself, about how I like to do things. My personality, how to be comfortable in a lot of different situations. Just as being myself. And I feel like I learned a lot about that. Like I said, a lot of the things that I personally like to do, what I don't like to do, where I'm better at, where I'm not as good at, And I feel like, it was a very cool year.
So no specifics, but he said, Bump, I learned a lot. It was definitely a learning year. What did we learn about Julio?
What did we learn? We learned that when he is playing his best baseball, he's one of the best in the game. We also learned that when he's not playing his best baseball, this team stands no chance. No chance. He is that important to the squad. So people look at what he has been paid and how early he got that deal, and you could frown upon it. But I think that if you isolate his good moments, you can see why they went out on a limb and said, we're going to pay this young man. Now it's time for him just to take that next step. Now just be a consistent ball player, guy who comes out, then not to be tearing things up, but let's not come out and look like we haven't seen a changeup or a breaking ball or anything like that. That's what we learned about him, though, is that, look, he is who we think he is when he's playing at the top of his game.
I learned, and this sounds lame, tell me if you think you can learn this later in your career, he may just not have a clutch gene or a clutchness to him, but I think if he learns to be more consistent, I don't know if it's simplifying things, he's talked a lot about that, but if he can learn to be more consistent, then you might inadvertently get those moments, or better yet, not need them.
We've had those. I don't know. I don't think I agree with that one. Okay. Because we've had them before.
I'm still on the fence about it.
We've had them before, but I don't think we had them last year, though.
No, and I just I have memories, Bump, of watching games, let's say 2 on, 2 out, Julio's up, bottom of the ninth, and it's just a desperate swing, and you're like, why?
Yeah, I agree.
And it's burned into my brain. And maybe the good thing should, in his, was it his rookie season, that big home run against the Rangers on the road, those memories should be burned into my brain, but I don't know. I go back and forth.
I think it's so early in his career that it's easy to lean on the side if he's not, and to lean on the side that, well, we've seen it already.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this year is so important to me, because it's like the prove it year. We got to see it now. There's no, okay, he's young, he's just getting used to this game. No, this is year 4. Year 4. Like, you have to show some promise and some consistency. So, no, I'm not mad at you for thinking that. I'm just not ready to tap into that quite yet.
Fair. I and you also have seen a lot of people on the Back and Jack's text line say, I think Julio's overhyped. Someone literally just texted it in a couple minutes ago and said, Julio Rodriguez, in my opinion, is a little overhyped. I think anytime someone is facing massive expectations, there's going to be a portion of a fan base that's disappointed, particularly when you have to be the savior and there's not a lot of insurance around you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I need every year for you to be an MVP caliber player, you are going to have some years when you disappoint me. And I think that pressure is really interesting, and how a single athlete deals with that pressure is interesting. Here's Julio on how he deals with everyone wanting something from him.
I feel like just being myself. I feel like that's kind of the biggest takeaway I have from all that, because by doing that, I choose the battles I want to fight, in the way. Like, I choose the things I want to do, the things that doesn't align with the timing or that they do, Like, right now we're doing this interview because, if it's a good time, we can talk about this, we can sit down and talk.
But we ask you tomorrow, you're going to say no.
That's what I'm saying. If it's a time that if something I don't have time, I feel a lot more comfortable doing those things because I understand better my priorities, and that's something that it feels good.
What'd you think of that answer?
I like it because I remember having conversations thinking, Julio's doing everything. Social media, all the meet and greets. There was GQ one year. Like, he did absolutely everything. But I think when you first get into a profession, it's kind of important that you do those things until you are established. Even if the public don't think that you're established, right? We got a lot of people texting in, he's overhyped, he's overpaid or whatnot. Okay, that's fine. You have that opinion, but he's established in this league now. He's Julio Rodriguez. He's considered one of the top 10 center fielders in the game, if not the best center fielder in the game. Now you can start moving different. You're no longer, I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you for having me. It's, okay, I got to do things that work for me. I put myself out there already. I've made a good amount of coin. Like, I'm secure in that position. Now I got to make sure I'm able to perform. So the fact that there is a shift that we're seeing and hearing from Julio when it comes to his obligations, that might be the thing that helps him come off to a good start.
As an athlete, do you feel like you handled pressure well? And if so, like, what did you do? Like, how did you do it?
Well, I only felt pressure really in high school and in college. In NFL, no one expected me to do anything.
Yeah, but in college, you were a major recruit, and you're still Wazoo's. Like, that's a lot of pressure. Not to gas you up, but I'm saying to come to Wazoo
I
is
felt
like
pressure in college.
You know what I mean? Like the highest recruit.
But you feel yourself, man. You believe in yourself. Like I said yesterday, you got to be delusional with who you are. When I was at Wazoo, I legit, on my mama, thought I was the best receiver in the country, had the best hands in the country, the best routes in the country. And I look back and go, nah, bro, you weren't even like top 10. Like, you know what I mean? But in that moment, you have to be that. And I think that's what Julio has to tap into, is that belief. And I don't know if he has lost it. I don't know if it's still there. But the mental game in baseball is so different, man, because I'm not going to fail in 2 games 7 times in football. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm going to have 10 targets. I'm going to catch the ball 8 times, and I have more opportunities to succeed. Baseball is different, so his mental has got to be tough.
I would not be able to deal with the stretches. Like, the best players in baseball will go 0 for 4.
Yeah.
Maybe 0 for 5 if the pitcher's really going through, your squad. Let's see. I'm going to skip to some of the outfield chemistry and working with Edgar and Kevin Seitzer.
I mean, it's been awesome. I feel like they were both also like very, very similar in the way that they approach hitting and like their message. And I think they were keeping things very simple for hitters. And I think that's something huge because at the end of the day, a lot of people are saying like playing baseball in a lot of different ways. I just feel like the game is a game. You can change the essence of the game. And I feel like that's something that they bring it back big time for a lot of us, and it's something that I'm excited to see play out.
If I had $1 for every time I heard a Mariners coach or player say "keep it simple" as like some kind of messaging this year, I'd have a good amount of money to buy myself a nice lunch by the end of spring training.
Yeah.
But it feels like that's also a very important and real message.
Yeah, that's And it's a good message because there are so many things that go through your mind when you're in the batter's box, and there's swing thoughts, right? And now you're reacting to the ball. There's the count that you have to take into consideration. Like, where's the runner on base? There's just so much that goes on in your mind when you're in the batter's box. The less, the better. Sometimes it's just you train for this. Now just go out there and react because you put yourself in position to have success. Just go out and react. Be aware of the count. Be aware of the situation, what needs to be done. But after that, man, shut your mind off and just react to what you're seeing. And I think that's what the greats are able to do, and hopefully he's able to do that.
Julio also talked about the chemistry between those outfilders.
I mean, it was awesome. I feel like even though we're different, we're very like-minded. We bonded right away. Like you said, Randy is really serious, but he actually talks a lot with us. Does he? He always fooling around, saying something out of the blue. He's funny. Victor, he's going to go out there and be Victor, and that's something that I really love about him, the way that he plays the game and how he is as a person. He in the clubhouse he's very kind of quiet, but at the same time he can get really loud. He can be making jokes, but at the same time he can be just kind of hanging out on his phone. But it's a really good relationship that we have. Like I said, we're very like-minded. We like to keep it light, but at the same time work hard.
We had Mike Salk on earlier in the show, and we asked him who's the most important player on this roster not named Julio. He said Randy Arozarena. Bump, I know you've looked at Victor Robles as being a huge factor in what this team could do this year. That outfield should and is carrying massive expectations.
Outfield got to lead the charge, man. Outfield has to do it. I mean, you look at they are the most talented group. You got Arozarena, you got Robles, and you have Julio. I mean, you throw Cal into the mix when it comes to the bat, of course, but when you're looking at positions, that is the most talented position. And I wasn't mad at Salk saying that Arozarena is the most important player. He probably is. I was digging deep for mine just to say, all right, I expect the outfield to play well. Now I need someone else to kind of do their thing, so I went with JP. But he's absolutely right. Arozarena directly takes pressure off of him, whether that is through conversation in the outfield and keeping things light, or being in the batter's box and just performing and taking pressure off of Julio. Yeah, it does start with him. He's the best bat out there. Let's not forget when they made the move halfway through the season before the trade deadline, that was considered the biggest bat moved in the league last year. So now we need him to come out and play like it.
I feel like Julio, I don't even want to say is quietly one of the more interesting stories. He's a name that him and Geno Smith, we talk about almost every single day, right? Two most important players right now for their respective teams, and both are polarizing or facing a lot of questions. But Julio, just as a story, is really fascinating because I think I see a lot of people go, what has he proven? If it only happens 1 month out of a season, what have you proven? And I'm like, I don't know, man. For me, there is something about seeing it. I don't need to have faith. I've seen it. And even though he gets hot later in seasons, and his second half numbers are legitimately better than his early numbers. He's got 6 career home runs in March and April. There is something very real about seeing someone meet the moment or meet expectation, even if it's just for part of a season, where you think, what if they could just put it together? It's not like he's shown you nothing. No disrespect, it felt like Kelnick showed us nothing. Never for an extended period of time in his career did he look like the player you thought he could be. Julio has.
Yeah, Kelnick was more 2 or 3 games, everyone's happy, and then it disappears. So we haven't, you're right, Julio has to be consistent. That it is what it is. I'm telling you, this is my year. I'm looking at the text line, Stacy, and there is so much Julio hate going on right now. And I guess rightfully so, because you're looking at this 3-year period and you're breaking it down. And you're not looking at the stints of greatness. You're looking at the overall picture of, yeah, he looks like an average type of player. But when he is hot, when he is doing his thing, that's where you see him do things that no one else can do or not many players can do. So that's what I lean into. And especially in this game, it takes a while for these players to do it. Everyone can't be Trout. I just looked up Trout. I go, let me look at the best of the best and see. His numbers are stupid. Julio will never be a Mike Trout. And if that's what you're comparing him to, then you are going to be disappointed because Julio will never be that. But what he can be is a guy who's consistently an all-star, where the slash line looks good, and he has his moments. And those guys get paid what he's being paid right now. That's all I'm asking for. And I think this is the year for me to where now I'll put it all together after a 4-year stint, right? Came in at like 2021, and now he's 24. This is the year where I put it all together and make my my midterm assessment of Julio Rodriguez.
I have no way to prove this or know this, but I feel like my gut just tells me right now that Julio is off and on in dealing with pressure. That sometimes he's great with it, and he does. Like, he walks up there, he looks comfortable, like he looks full of confidence, and like he looks like someone who embraces those moments. Like you've talked about being in the huddle and being like, no, throw me the ball. Like you want it or you don't. And he looks like someone who does. Very comfortable with the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
But the production tells me that sometimes there is just too much on his shoulders.
Yeah, maybe. And when you're young, when you're that young, and you're expected, like, no, not everyone's Juan Soto, okay? Like, those are special. And I think that is the trap that we fall into, is comparing a guy who's getting $200 million to a guy that is getting dang near $1 billion. There are levels to this. There are levels, and Julio's just not that. But at his best, he's throwing hands with some of those guys.
Well, he's still your best player. Like, complain all you want about Julio, but Curtis, did he lead the team in like most batting hitting categories last year?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much anything,
except for home runs, but
yeah. And I know
still you're one of your best hitters.
And I know it's exceptionally frustrating that so many of those numbers always feel like they come post All-Star break. But look, man, you're looking for your best student to work their hardest and have their best year. You're not looking at someone who has shown an inability to be good,
right?
To suddenly be something he's not.
Mm-hmm.
I am not asking a utility guy to hit 35 home runs for the Mariners.
It'd be nice, though.
Yeah, it'd be great. I am asking Julio to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, more from Julio on the Brock and Salk podcast right now. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one. This news coming during our show today. The Rams and Matthew Stafford had agreed to a restructured deal that will keep the quarterback in L.A. What's the real headline?
Maybe he and Tom Brady really do just love skiing, Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports reported a couple days ago that Tom Brady and Stafford were at a ski resort, like the same ski community in Montana, and that Brady was trying to corral him to go to the Raiders, and people were like, whoa, maybe that's just a coincidence. I mean, staying with the Rams.
What if Brady was mentoring him through this, but not giving him not pushing him in any type of direction?
Just talking.
What if he was just talking ball? And that's where any relationship with Brady is gonna be a little shady, bars, is because of where he is. He is an analyst for Fox. He is a part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Whenever you see quarterbacks or free agents or guys looking for extensions talking to Tom Brady, that question is going to come up, especially if y'all just both happen to be in Montana. Mm-hmm. How many times you been in Montana? You been in Montana?
No.
Me neither. Actually,
Maybe
I've been once.
Flown over it?
I've been once, and I never ran into anybody I knew in Montana.
Yeah, it's kind of like accidentally running into someone at like a Target in Spokane. How'd you both end up there at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they did.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Headline rewrites.
Headline number two. Myles Garrett has told the Browns he's not open to a contract extension and has dug his heels in on his trade request. What's the real headline?
Will the Eagles fittingly take a swing on Garrett?
They should. They should take a swing. But Myles Garrett, he deserves this. 0-16 his rookie year, 3-14 last year. He's been an All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year. He's done everything he could for the Cleveland Browns. I understand the Browns want to keep their biggest asset. I would want to as well. But at some point, just start all over. You can get a first-rounder. You might be able to get 2 first-rounders for Myles Garrett, one next year and one the following year. He's that good of a ball player, and that could be something to help you rebuild what was going over there. They had a window, like a 2-year window with Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb and him. I don't know if Amari Cooper was on the team yet, but they had a window where they could have done it, and they just didn't. So the window is closed. Go ahead, start all over, get somebody else, get some trades or some picks for Myles Garrett. But I doubt they do that because he's that good of a ball player.
Weird question for someone that might be the best defensive player right now, or certainly one of them. But how much longer can he do it? Again, he's had, I think, 7 consecutive seasons of double-digit sacks.
He's year 8.
Yeah.
He can do.
So 30. I think he's 29 or 30.
He can get about 4 or 5 more in, I think.
Okay. I mean, that's another big contract.
Mm-hmm.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, the Seahawks have granted Rayshawn Jenkins permission to seek a trade. What's the real headline?
Respectfully, and I do mean that, I did not know people were seeking a trade for Rayshawn Jenkins.
Nah, he's trying to get up out of here. And if he can get the Seahawks something out of it, the Seahawks will greatly appreciate it. And the reason why he wants to get out of here is because Kobe Bryant, in his absence, has been balling. He started with the last 8 games or something like that, a touchdown, interception for a touchdown, 2 interceptions, 6 passes defended, 2 quarterback hits. Kobe took that spot and said, this isn't mine. I am the captain now. And Jenkins is at a point of his career where he doesn't want to wait. He wants to play. He doesn't want to sit behind a guy that he feels like is moving in the right direction. It's not personal. It is just business. So if I am Jenkins, of course I want to try to get a trade. But here's the thing. How desperate are teams going to be? Because it looks like the Seahawks are probably going to release Jenkins anyway. So if a team can feel that and see that, they're not going to want to give up anything. They're going to let you release him, and then they're going to go ahead and grab him. Either way, man, Jenkins can play in this league, and I hope he gets picked up by a team quickly.
I would see it as like if you are a team and you have to absorb part of that contract. I would see it though as like if you're a team that's like, we could use a veteran defensive back here, and we have quite a few day 3 picks, and maybe not enough money or not the record to compete with the free agent market. Like, let's say you are a bad team. I'm talking like a 3-win team. You're like, well, why would he come here? Like, we're gonna have to trade for him.
He's looking for a situation like the Hawks were last year, with just uncertainty at a position, maybe a new coach there, and you're trying to rebuild and figure some things out, and you need a veteran that you don't have to teach everything, a veteran who knows the game and knows the NFL. That's the right position for Jenkins, so we'll see where he ends up.
Someone said Stacy throwing some shade. I actually really like Jenkins. We interviewed him in training camp, and he was a really cool guy and really funny, and he had some really solid moments. Like Bump said, he got hurt and then lost his starting job and then wasn't able to fully bounce back. There is a place for him in the league. Like, he's a good ball player. But I think this is something where either Jenkins or the team wanted to make it clear that other teams could pick up the phone, because maybe they're not doing that regularly for a player like Jenkins, but for, like people are going to call and say, hey, what are you doing for Ken Walker? Like someone that they know, like, they might have to barter with you, but it's just kind of letting other teams know. So.
Yeah. He's out there. You want him, come get him.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Still to come. My 12:45 segment's a mess. I can't tell how it's going to work, if it's going to land, but I'm very excited to get to it. At 1 p.m., we're going to take your calls. We haven't taken calls in a while. Normally, we do this after games. I know we did it after some playoff games. No reason to. We lost.
We didn't make the playoffs.
Exactly. And so, I think we all just were kind of like, well, let's drudge through the offseason. But now that things have been stirring back up with potential extensions and moves, we're going to put you guys in the Seahawks front office and have you make a big decision here. So, again, that's coming up at 1 p.m. Some more stuff from the John Schneider Show coming up at 1:30. I really like this conversation. I really like these cuts because it's about the stuff that matters off the field for a player. So learning a bit more about what the Seahawks really focus on when they're talking to these guys. Everyone at the Combine is big and strong and fast. What else matters? What else are you bringing to a team? So again, all of that coming your way. Coming up next, the Seahawks have been linked to a quarterback at the Combine, the latest from Matthew Stafford in the Rams. And are the Eagles about to make a move for Myles Garrett? We've been talking about it all day, but we have some sound, so we'll let you hear it. We'll tell you why. That's next.
Seattle Sports is heading to Arizona for spring training baseball.
Knowing every night when you go out there that you're going to get a great pitching outing is tremendous.
Go behind the scenes with Wyman and Bob as the Seattle Mariners get ready for the 2025 season. All next week from 2 to 7.
Back she goes, going and going. Goodbye, baseball. He did it. Julio Rodriguez.
And hear every pitch of spring training baseball on Seattle Sports. Streaming on the Seattle Sports app.
Holy smokes.
Hey, Brock Heward here. And as a former college and professional player and quarterback in particular, the years of wear and tear and some of those hits left my knee and some of my body in some constant pain. On and off the field, the weight room, all those heavy squats and all of it. In fact, my knee was really bothering me last year. That's why I decided to try stem cell injection therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson at Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine over there in Kirkland. And really, it was an awesome decision. With Dr. Dan, the procedure itself was so quick and easy. In and out, same day. Next day, I'm out watching football practice, a baseball game, and the staff was absolutely A+. And my knee, well, it's a whole lot better now, and I'm back to squatting and enjoying a much better quality of life. Call Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD, with Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. Over 30 years of experience. No one, and I mean no one, has more experience in pain medicine techniques. You can reach him at 425-823-4000. That's 425-823-4000 or DanielNelsonMD.com.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ooh, got a dash light on? The AutoZone free Fix Finder service can read your check engine, ABS, and other warning lights to help you find the fix. You'll get an easy-to-read report with clear next steps. And we can recommend a trusted local shop if you need one. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service with shop referral. Only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. The season's first tryout for adults ages 18 to 65 and older is this Sunday, March 2nd at Hogan Park at Russell Road in Kent. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Ooh, up top, bike shop. Yeah.
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messingthorpe, Dubois,
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years!
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five!
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. This summer, experience breathtaking Cascade views and world-class dining. Elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost relaxation. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
From the
It's the perfect situation. You don't want to, if you don't have to play your rookie quarterback, don't do it. And in this situation, you wouldn't have to play.
I just wonder if John Schneider's philosophy of take the best player, not the one you desperately need, which I'm sure other GMs share, is one that changes a bit when it's a quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way that the Seahawks front office has Jackson Dart with, like, he is one of the best players in this class, period. But that philosophy bends for quarterbacks. I would bet you anything.
It does. Well, they're also ranked differently.
Yeah.
Like, you can have a quarterback that's number 2 on your draft board, but really talent-wise, he's like the 5th or 6th guy.
Which we're going to see this year.
But he's only up there because you need a quarterback.
Exactly. Are the Eagles actually serious about making a move for Myles Garrett? This was on the Scoop City podcast from The Athletic's Diana Rossini.
Here's what some people are saying right now, that Howie's willing to move on from some of these guys because he's looking to make a big swing, and that big swing would be for Myles Garrett. Some of these guys that you think are a sure thing may not be sure things to return to Philly.
I would rather have Myles Garrett than Zach Bond.
Put it past Howie Roseman going after Myles Garrett.
Absolutely
no way.
Not.
Continue to build and build and build in the area that got them to the Super Bowl and in the Super Bowl's past, which is just to continue with it.
And Myles Garrett.
Could you imagine that? Wow. Look, but is Cleveland going to move him? At the end of the day, it's going to come down to that.
The idea of Jalen Carter and Myles Garrett playing on the same team together makes me actually mad.
And then if they re-sign Josh Sweat, that's going to be awesome. You still got Baum over there at the linebacker spot. That box would be just on point. No, that's unfair. I'm going to say it again. Man, veto that thing. Roger Goodell.
You know, they can't keep getting away with this.
Unfair competitive advantage. Let's not let Philly get better. I'm hating on it, but then I'd be interested to see it too, man. That would be crazy to see just the talent in that defensive box for Philly. And you got a lot of pieces coming back offensively. The offensive line is going to be intact, minus Becton, who's a free agent over there. Saquon is inked up. Hurts is inked up. Man, that wouldn't be fair.
There has to be a cap hell situation coming for the Eagles. There has to. There's no way. I mean, you already know. You don't need to see more from Jalen Carter. You already know you're going to be paying Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
If you trade for Myles Garrett, you're extending him. You're giving him more guaranteed money. You're paying him a ton of money. You've got, obviously, your quarterback, your running back, your high-paid wide receiver, one of the most expensive offensive lines. Like, they have done a good job of moving that money down the road, but it feels so hard to believe there's not some reckoning coming for every team in the league. And it just every, however many years, you're like, all right, now we're paying for all the money that we pushed back. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they do just keep getting away with it. Front Office Sports reports the NFL couldn't find a team for the offseason edition of Hard Knocks. Go figure. So they pivoted to the college ranks and will follow North Carolina's first offseason with Bill Belichick.
That's going to be interesting. And the reason why is because that is so out of the norm of what we expect from Bill Belichick. But I think he realizes that he's got to put himself out there, especially in this new NIL transfer portal. You have to be attractive. He wouldn't be over there if he didn't feel like he had the resources to get some of these better players. But now, you know what this generation is look at me. I'm on TV. North Carolina, what's that about? I'm going to go check them out. So if he's able to get in front of those cameras, have his assistants get in front of those cameras, and just show personality with the discipline that's needed to run a successful football program, this could really help them. I'm intrigued. I didn't think that Bill Belichick would want to do something like this, but this shows that you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Next up, Shedeur Sanders says there shouldn't be any worry about his ability to turn a losing team around.
I've been through 6 different OCs, so I'm able to adjust to any offense and every scheme and make it work. We went from Jackson State to Colorado and changed 2 programs back to back. So you don't think I could come to an NFL franchise and change a program again? It's history. We done it again. It's so
And they are in a weird spot. They can't move on from Deshaun. Not really. Like, no one's going to trade for that contract.
No,
Give
nobody
you a bunch
touching
of
that.
picks. No one's touching that.
He'll be the greatest backup of all time.
Maybe like the most expensive backup of all time.
Hey.
I don't know that he's getting back to his old self. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna
he was
return.
like statistically the worst quarterback of the last like 25 years.
It is weird because people were, before all of the lawsuits came forward, when no one knew anything about Deshaun Watson and they just saw him as one of the great young quarterbacks. People were talking about him with like the, Patrick Mahomes type conversations about like, this is the future of the league.
Yeah.
It's not like he was just okay.
When he was with Houston, man, he was elite. That dude was balling. But this goes to show you how important the mental is, man. When you are off and you're being accused of things and you are fighting for your reputation, it affects your play tremendously.
Opening up phone lines at 1 p.m. More from John Schneider coming up at 1:30. Don't go anywhere. This is Bump and Stacy.
Brock and Salk, live in Peoria.
Dan Wilson, the skipper of this group, with us right now. It's a really strong group. I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to start this season with them and continue it through, because it's a really fun group, and it's a group that's been together for a while, and I think that's a huge benefit. There's not a lot of, down here in spring training, there's not a lot of, hey, nice to meet you, how's your family? Like, these guys know each other. We're starting from a different base, and we're going to get started on a good foot.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
No football for me means I'm ready for an escape, and since my weekends are free, I'm looking for something fun, relaxing, and with some entertainment built in. I got just a place for you, Silver Reef Casino Resort. They got hotels, they got a spa, they got multiple restaurants, including the best steakhouse north of Seattle and the brand new The Cantina. They also have concerts and events. Yes, sir, they got you covered. Get this, they got golfing too, so I'm going to get back out there when the weather gets good. It's all systems go for Silver Reef Casino Resort. Don't tell me it's too far. You'll spend more time in traffic this weekend. Get little Bobby to his games. Hop on I-5 and you are basically there, and you can fill up. They have some of the cheapest gas you'll see all year. Join Reef Rewards for free, and you'll get 10% off at the resort. Don't wait. Visit Silver Reef Casino Resort, silverreefcasinoresort.com to book your stay today. There's something for everyone at Silver Reef Casino.
Guys, I'll never forget the first time I saw somebody get results at our clinic. He was an 81-year-old man who hadn't been intimate with his wife in over 8 years. Viagra had stopped working for him, and he was desperate for help. After several treatments, he walked into my office and told me he couldn't believe the results. Needless to say, this was a very happy man. This man made me a believer in what we do. He had taken pills for years, but he had never fixed the problem. When he came to us, we fixed the problem. Our treatment does what no pill can do. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today, like the thousands of men who already have.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. What? They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Crafted with precision and timeless elegance, Chris Craft boats are the epitome of sophistication and performance. Each is a masterpiece designed with superior craftsmanship, exquisite materials. No matter your pleasure, cruising, surfing, or performance from 24 to 35 feet, it's at Chris Craft Northwest. Look at the rest and experience art in motion. Chris Craft Northwest. See the difference at the new Chris Craft Northwest showroom on Lake Union during the open house through March 1st. Visit chriscraftnw.com.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Is that a new Samsung Galaxy A15 5G?
Yeah, I got it for free when I joined Cricket Nation.
Sounds pretty great.
At Cricket, anyone can get a new phone when they switch.
Whoa.
With a high-quality camera, meaning more flattering selfies for all. And super fast 5G, so you can post them for all to see. Your friends, your family, your ex. Free phone! Free phone!
Okay, I'll switch.
Welcome to Cricket Nation.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 4th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires PayPal bill and auto-pay stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Should the Seahawks still draft a quarterback? Doesn't matter if Geno gets that extension or not. You think they should still draft someone this spring? That's going to be your caller question coming up in 15 minutes. That number is going to be 866-979-3776. And just keep in mind for this one that if you're saying, yes, they should draft a quarterback, there's another position you're not going to get here, and this guy's not going to be starting in 2025. So it is still a risk, but curious to see what everyone thinks following as close to confirmation as you can get from John Schneider that they're going to reach an agreement on an extension with Geno. Before we get to that, so you guys know how there was that viral story that came from the NFL Combine where Fox reporter Jordan Schultz had a report that was then disputed by, was it Ian Rappaport? By Ian Rappaport.
Mm-hmm.
And allegedly, no, this really happened. There's like multiple eyewitnesses. Jordan confronted Ian at a Starbucks and got in his face. And there was no physical altercation, but I'll call it a fight, right? And it just got me thinking, just while I'm, letting people ruminate on their answer to our caller question, this feels like a much more important one. Bump, I want to know which reporters you think you could beat in a fight. So I'm going to list a reporter. And I included like sports personalities too. Okay. And just tell me if you think that you could beat him in a fight.
All right.
Adam Schefter.
Shefty? Oh, man, with my left hand only.
What?
Left hand only.
Already bold out of the gate.
Left hand only. Shefty might be scrappy, man, but I think I got too much weight and too much power on him.
I think if his phone
Your boy's in the gym 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I've been training for this my whole life. Shefty, left hand, it's not going to last too long.
I don't think his heart's in it.
No.
I don't think he's got that dog in him.
He's the dude, like, you pop him in the nose and he's done.
Yeah,
he's like,
I'm above it.
I'm done. I'm done with this. Yeah, that's a wrap.
Next round, Jay Glazer.
Glazer, that's the MMA guy? Who's Jay Glazer? MMA?
He's the Fox Sports NFL guy who dabbles in MMA.
Definitely lifts.
Hold on, let me
definitely lifts.
He doesn't skip his arms. I don't know about his legs.
I mean, I have no idea. I don't know, about the power source.
Oh yeah, hey, that if we're wrestling, he might get me because he's a little stocky dude. He's stocky. If we're boxing, okay, but if we're MMA grappling, that's gonna be a tough one. He looks like he knows a couple of submissions. I gotta stay on my feet with this dude.
Okay,
can't go down to the ground.
Okay, you walk into the Starbucks And in comes Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, come on. He's too old. He's a hooper, man. Hoopers ain't like that.
Yeah, they're not swinging.
Like back in the day, we saw Shaq and Barkley go at it. We see Charles Oakley, rest in peace. He passed away, right? Charles Oakley, rest in peace.
No, I think he's still with us.
Nah, I think he's gone.
I'm pretty sure he's still with us.
You know what happened the last time I did that? That person passed away like within
Charles
a few
Oakley,
months.
according to Wikipedia, still alive.
Oh, dang. My bad, Charles. My bad. Stay up. Good health and all that. Good
Stay
health.
up.
Good health.
Stay up. Charles Oakley, R.I.P.
He got reach, though. I think Stephen A. got reach. He's 6'1", I'm 5'11". He got a little reach on me, though. But Stephen A., he ain't like that. He ain't like that.
Next round, you walk into the Starbucks. Shams.
He's too nice of a guy. I
don't think he would do it
I
either.
would be like, you know what? Let's just talk this out, man, because you don't seem like you want the smoke.
No.
You're too nice of a guy. I've seen dudes beat up on people before, and I'm like, why? You didn't need to do all that.
Mhm.
Like, that person didn't want any of that. So I
Yep.
think he seems like just a nice dude.
The vibe I get from him is that he would break up a fight.
Yeah.
That, like, our next guy would come in here. You'd be squaring each other up, and he'd come over and he'd be like, you guys, enough of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, the Lakers are playing.
My phone's blowing up.
What about next round? Tony Romo.
Tony's kind of big, man.
Yeah.
Tony's kind of big. Listen, I'm never going to sit here and say that I ain't going to win a fight, right?
Right, but this is the closest you'll
This
get.
is the one where I'm like,
6'2", 230.
I need some space. You know what I have to do? So in college, your boy got in a couple scraps, right? And my boys used to make fun of me because I never wanted to jack my hands up.
Right.
Obviously, I'm a receiver.
Obviously.
So we got into some scraps, and the first thing I did, I kick a dude in his knee. Bow! Kick him in his knee. And bam, he's immobilized, and boom, it's over quickly, right?
Yeah.
I'd have to take that approach with Tony.
Okay, now, would you be willing to say yes if you could tag one of me or Curtis in?
Oh, yeah. If it's me and Curtis, we can get him.
Why didn't you say Stacy?
We can get him.
Okay, wait. Could you beat up in a fight Tony Romo if you could tag me in?
Probably not.
Okay, wow.
Probably not. I feel like you just be in the way. Like I'm
Wow.
trying to kick his knee, and you're like jumping across,
Yeah, I'm
and I might
grabbing his
kick
ankles.
you.
I'm
I might
grabbing his
hold him
ankles.
down. Yeah,
And
Curtis
then-
rushes him, and then I just get on top of his back.
You are really underestimating the impact I could have just jumping on his back. You know what I mean?
Stacey, you are so little.
That's why I could.
All it
there are
takes is
tables.
one shoulder shrug, and you're out of there.
Have you ever seen koalas when they cling onto trees? They got their little 3 fingers like this. That's going to be me with
Do
Tony.
you ever look at a koala and be like, "Oh man, that's a feisty individual"?
I think a tree could shake pretty hard and a koala wouldn't fall off. Next up, next round, you're in a Starbucks and you hear, "Hey, bump!" and in walks Al Michaels.
Oh man, I'd let him.
like
I'd let him get me. I'd just stand there and cover up, cause you might kill that dude, man. One blow to the head, you might kill that dude.
Could you beat Al Michaels
I
in
would
a fight?
accidentally murder him. I'd be in jail for life. They'd be like, "Why would you even throw hands with this dude?"
Dang, just like Charles Oakley.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Stay up, Oakley. My bad, man. Dang,
What about friend of the show, Bob Condota?
man. Go Cougs, Bob. Go
I don't like this
Cougs.
Coug on Coug violence.
Nah, we'd have to drink it out. Me and Bob we're looking at each other, and first off, we'll probably laugh it out like, for real, this is what we're doing, and then we'll go have some beer and talk about the Snow Bowl
Yeah.
in the 90s. And
But if you and Bob each had to swing on each other just once, whose punch is landing harder?
Bob's kind of heavy though.
I think Bob's
heavy.
got some power.
Bob's heavy, and you know what? It's the sneaky, like, unassuming guys that you got to be careful. I think I would feel it, but I think that Bob don't work out.
You think he could? You think he would go to like a dark place?
Yeah, he seems like he got that twitch. Bob walks through the meeting room sometimes and has not done his hair. Like, he don't care. He'll walk through. I just woke up. I'm in sandals and it's 20 degrees outside.
I'm going to tell Bob all of this.
That's
It's
my
those
dude. I'll
people
tell
that
him.
have the least amount to lose in
Yep.
a fight that are the most dangerous.
I think Bob could win some fights.
I think he could,
I have
especially back in
full
his
faith
Pullman
in
days.
Bob.
Pullman days, Bob.
Pure
Who
faith.
knows?
Last one, friend of the show, Brady Henderson.
That's probably the most even matchup because we're
This
about the
is a
same
tough-
size.
You're about the same
We're
height
about the same
and weight.
size.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Curtis and I are doing like halftime like breaks in the ring reports for this one. Like this is a
Yeah, you got to go back to your corner, get toweled off.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is probably the most even one because we're about the same size. I just played golf with him a couple weeks ago.
Did you
actually,
guys fight?
Too. Not once.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
I didn't know if you got some practice rounds.
We gave each other hugs before the round and after the round.
Wow.
So this one, I wouldn't even attempt, man. Brady's too much of a good dude. And
if it goes to the ground, who has the?
if it goes to the ground, I got it for sure.
Yeah.
I think so too. Like I believe that it would be a good match, but yeah, I think.
But
so.
listen, real talk.
Yeah.
All these fools can get it.
I knew that I knew your
All these fools can
even
get it.
Al, even Al Michaels. I knew that your answer for every single one would be like, how do I find a way to say yes? How do I find a way to say I could beat them? All right, your caller question is, should the Seahawks draft a quarterback? 866-979-3776. Call now.
Seattle sports is heading to Arizona for spring training baseball.
Knowing every night when you go out there that you're going to get a great pitching outing is tremendous.
Go behind the scenes with Wyman and Bob as the Seattle Mariners get ready for the 2025 season. All next week from 2 to 7.
Back she goes, going and going. Goodbye, baseball. He did it. Julio Rodriguez.
And hear every pitch of spring training baseball on Seattle Sports. Streaming on the Seattle Sports app.
Holy smokes.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For over 55 years, you've trusted us for roofing, siding, windows, decking, and gutters. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years? Like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models. Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
Exciting personal news. I happen to be driving a brand new Bronco Sport from Wayscar Ford. The bad news is I spent way longer than I anticipated at the dealership because I truly couldn't decide. It's not my fault. They have so many options at amazing prices. Mark, what gives?
Well, we have a lot of inventory right now, Stacy, and they're priced to sell. Compare our prices to our competitors. Make sure that you check out what rebates that the dealers are putting on their pricing, because you probably won't qualify for a lot of them. The rebates we have online on our prices are ones that everybody qualifies for. We don't play games, there's no gimmicks, and there's absolutely no pressure, and it's all backed up by a 5-day or a 500-mile, 100% money-back guarantee. And our new cars come with a lifetime powertrain coverage. Buy with confidence. We'd love to see you.
So wayscarford.com. Again, those prices are for real, like Mark said. And I'm really glad I did it. It was worth the trip to go out there. Your staff was so incredibly nice, knowledgeable, and accommodating. That's Wayscar Ford in Auburn. wayscarford.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Matthew Stafford will stay with the Rams in 2025. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, LA reached an agreement today on a restructured deal with the quarterback. There had been plenty of trade speculation, particularly after one report that Tom Brady was courting Stafford to the Raiders, but that talk is now over. In the meantime, teams like the Raiders and Giants are still looking for their starter.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. All right, congratulations, you guys. You're the Seahawks GM, at least for today. And you're going to call in and tell me if you take a quarterback. Do you still draft a quarterback? I mean, we've essentially been told by John Schneider that A, they're meeting with Geno and his agent today, and B, the hope is that an extension comes from that conversation. I don't know that many people still are doubting that Geno Smith is the starter in 2025. But the question isn't necessarily anymore, is Geno the guy? It's, do you find your next guy now? Do you draft a quarterback in this year's class? 866-979-3776. Call now. We do know the Seahawks met with a quarterback. This was Jackson Dart at the Combine.
For the Seahawks, it's been great to build a relationship with them. They have an elite coaching staff and have a ton of talent on their team. So it's been a lot of fun, sitting and talking ball.
Bump, do you like Jackson Dart as a fit for Seattle?
Went out on a date, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Then I texted. She texted back. And I'm like, oh, there's more to this. And then I woke up, and a couple days later, I went on another date. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling this.
Okay.
That's how I feel about Jackson Dart right now.
Where you're like, okay, a little more exposure, being around this idea, embracing it, and all of a sudden you're like, Jackson Dart would look pretty good in action green.
Just need to see her again, and boom,
I think the thing that makes Jackson Dart so interesting is, like, I would love for Seattle to draft a quarterback. Like, if I were to call in, my answer would be, yes, take a quarterback. Do I want them to take one at 18? That's when I start to get nervous.
Mm-hmm.
That's when all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, would you, instead of using house money, what if you had to put your own $20 bill out there? All of a sudden I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'd take one at 18. That feels like a reach for Jackson Dart and anyone, not one of the top two guys. So should the Seahawks still draft a quarterback? Let's go to John in Sumner. John, should the Seahawks draft a quarterback?
I'm thinking kind of what you said. You take a late-round flyer on somebody, but if Geno is already in extension talks, you kind of have to just go with that train. You can't steer away from it. I think that, anybody looking at this team and saying that it's Geno's fault is just looking for someone to blame. We were right there on the edge in every facet. This is a margins game. You kind of got to hope he cleans up his mistakes and see how it goes, especially with an uninspiring draft class.
Like the call, John. Should the Seahawks still draft a quarterback, even if Geno's your starter? 866-979-3776. Bump, I actually watched, to John's point, a clip of Mike McDonald being interviewed on NFL Network. And during the conversation, the host said, yeah, it feels like there are some people that just, they look at these losses and they say not making the playoffs and Geno's fault is Geno's fault. And Mike McDonald shot that down.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, not like that's a lazy take, but like that's a bad take.
Yeah, no coach is going to say it's the quarterback's fault. No coach. And it's important that Mike McDonald shows Geno, like, I got your back. Like, we're in this together. So I like that call, though. I'm not mad at the thought, like, you don't want to take one early, but you're looking at the quarterbacks that are available. I think it's all contingent on who's there and who's not there. Like, if you get to that point, and the communication with other clubs. Like, you're going to talk to other organizations, and some relationships are closer. Some will give you a bit more insight of what you're going to do, what they're going to do, what they're not going to do. If you have an inkling, you're looking at the teams that are coming up, and you think, okay, we can wait and probably get a guy later, then you do that.
I'm waiting to see if we get a call that says, like with a twist, no, the Seahawks shouldn't draft a quarterback because they have Sam Howell. Like, I'm waiting to see, like, what kind of creative answers are we going to get here? Let's go to Josh in Seattle. Josh, should the Seahawks still draft a quarterback?
So, hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call, first of all. Sorry, let me turn the AC off. Basically, I think that we're good with Geno. I like that plan of, like, getting somebody and sitting him behind Geno for a couple seasons or whatnot. I just don't think that Jackson Dart's going to be there at 16. I think he ranks pretty close to Ward and Shador, in my opinion. They're all at the same exact tier. They've all proven through numerous seasons now where they're at. I watch a ton of college, and I have my own metrics, but a lot of it has a lot to do with the eye test as well, so I kind of cross-reference metrics with what I'm seeing, and those three are a lot closer than people are giving them credit for. So if there's three teams that really need quarterbacks, none of those three will be there, I don't think, by the Seahawks pick. Now, if he is there, I would say take him and let him sit behind Geno. That would be my suggestion for that. But I just really don't think that people are taking his potential and what he's shown as serious as maybe they should. I don't think he'll be there at 16.
Thanks for the call, Josh. So Josh was basically being like, look, I'm actually way higher on Jackson Dart than are some analysts. I don't even think he's going to be there when the Seahawks are on the clock. If they are, they should take him.
Mm-hmm.
I think what he was also getting at is if he's gone, and I think he will be, then don't take a quarterback until later because maybe there's a gap there. Do you agree with his analysis on Dart?
No, I'm not mad at that. It's like, it's those three. And maybe you sprinkle in some Ewers in there. How do you say his name?
I always say Quinn Ewers.
Ewers. Okay.
Can't tell if I'm right
It's
or
just
wrong.
weird. It just doesn't even feel natural when I say it. Anyway, it's those three, honestly. It's those three, and then Ewers and everyone else. If he's available, I am waiting until the final second before I have to make a pick and really looking hard at drafting that young man.
What if Josh is right? Like, what if Jackson Dart is legit and he's at 18?
Listen. He's the third best quarterback in this draft. To me, he's the third best. I like me some McCord. I think McCord and Ewers are a bit closer than what people may think. I think Ewers had such a better year in 2023, and then 2024, obviously, he gets banged up and all that good stuff. But I think it's the top two, Dart by himself, and then there's Ewers and McCord.
866-979-3776. Should the Seahawks draft a quarterback? Call now. Let's go to Scott in Birch Bay. Scott, what do you think?
It really comes down to whether they think these guys have a chance to play. Like, I think there's only the three guys that are worthy of the 18. The rest of those guys are too hit and miss. But if you think that one of those other, yours or those guys can play, then they come up in a later rounds, take them. But what it seems a lot of teams do is they decide they have to take a quarterback, so even a third or fourth round pick has real value. And if you're just taking that to say you took a quarterback to get some guy to sit on the bench for a couple years and then get cut, that doesn't make sense either. So my answer is yes, they should, but only if there's a guy that they truly believe has a legitimate chance to be a starting quarterback.
I like the point, Scott. Thanks for the call. Bump, I immediately was thinking of some late-round picks that have worked out really well for Seattle. You could look in the 5th round in 2022 and say, let's just add a quarterback because we really should. Like, we don't know how long Russ is actually going to be here. Maybe we start looking at some different things. Or was that Geno's first year? I don't know. Then you don't get Rick Wallen. Maybe prior to that, I think 2017 or 18, you look in the 7th and you go, well, shoot. You know what? We're almost done with this thing. Let's take a quarterback. Then you don't get Chris Carson. Like, there is real talent that you're bypassing, real opportunity. I mean, I think Jason Kelce was like a 6th rounder. Like, there are real stars that you can find. It's not as common. It is not. But I think you're more likely to hit on a late round, let's say, running back or random, guard than you are a late, like a 7th round quarterback.
Yeah, and quarterback, that's difficult. I know big ups Brock Purdy, big ups Tom Brady. That's just rare. At a position where there's so much responsibility, it's just rare to find that talent. Now, other positions, running back you mentioned, even linebackers. We've seen linebackers. I mean, it's just easier to the field positions to where you're running around and making plays. There are diamonds in the rough there, but when you're talking quarterback, there's extensive film situations. You can really break down that position. So, no, it's difficult to find it. It has happened before, but I wouldn't bank on it.
The 360 says that thinking means you wouldn't get Russell Wilson, which is also fair, but I also think we're going to see fewer Russell Wilsons. I think we evaluate quarterback talent differently, and I think the things that used to keep clearly talented quarterbacks out of the 1st and 2nd round, like just height alone, aren't going to be as much of a factor. Like, if Russell Wilson's 6'2", he's not going in the 3rd round. And also, how many times did we talk about this year's playoff quarterbacks? How many of those guys were 1st rounders versus 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th rounders?
All but one, I think.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts.
I just think it is far more common to find your starter in the 1st, maybe 2nd round.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, it also eliminates Brock Purdy. Like, there are all kinds of stories that we can point to. Tom Brady, for goodness sakes. But we know about those draft picks and exactly which round they were in because it's rare. So it's part of the story. Let's go to Ken in Yakima. Ken, should the Seahawks still draft a quarterback?
I'm saying absolutely not on this one.
Okay.
I just think that it's such a the stars have to align, even with a great quarterback. Even if you think about maybe Trevor Lawrence or something like that. Like, it was the highest quarterback prospect coming out, and because they haven't had depth, they haven't made anything happen with it.
So you're saying, like, you have so many roster holes to fill that you would just much rather become a more complete team than go after the quarterback?
Yeah, not even that they have a ton of holes to fill. Like, they're all right, but I think you have to build up that depth, or you risk just wasting a pick on a guy that may not be able to get you where you want to go anyways.
Fair.
Even if he is a top prospect.
Yeah, fair. Thanks for the call, Ken. What do you make of Ken's point? Ken's the first person we've had, including on the text line, say absolutely not.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. When are you going to – you don't know the future, right? You don't know what the Hawks are going to do when it comes to their record, what pick they're going to have in next year's draft. If you are evaluating a quarterback and you're in the situation you're in, if you are the Seahawks, where you have an older quarterback who's looking for another contract, only going to be here 2 to 3 more years, if you have a quarterback you like, I think you have to take him. You have to take him because you don't win without a quarterback. And you're winning with a Geno Smith who was a 2nd-round pick, right? Or you're winning enough games, at least to be competitive. I just think if you like him, you take him. If he's there and they don't take him, that means they don't like him.
Should the Seahawks still draft a quarterback? 866-979-3776. Let's go to Randy. Randy, should the Seahawks still draft a quarterback?
Hell no. It doesn't matter if Patrick Mahomes is reincarnated and available at 18.
Whoa.
Hang on. Randy.
It ain't going to happen.
You lost me with I don't care if Pat Mahomes is
standing in front of him to block the defense, and we don't have a line that can do that consistently.
Listen, I love your argument. I like your argument, but you lost me with I don't care if Pat Mahomes is there. If Pat Mahomes is sitting at 18, Randy, you're taking Pat Mahomes. I don't care what your line looks like. I don't care what your line looks like.
Broken arm and a concussion.
I don't care what your line. Now you're talking about what's going to happen in week 3, 4, 5, 6. If Pat Mahomes is sitting at 18, Randy, and you're looking at him, he's looking at you, you're going to say, "Nah, I'm good. I'm moving on. I'm going to an offensive."
I'm going to say I need people in front of him so he doesn't have a concussion his entire career.
Randy, you're crazy. You would have had a good argument if you would have thrown a different name in there. You said the best quarterback in the game right now, Randy. I feel what you're saying. You got to protect your quarterback, and I'm not mad at your argument. I'm just mad you threw Pat Mahomes in there. You should have said, like, someone else, not Pat Mahomes.
If they're going to sit him for 2 years and build a line in front of him, then okay, draft him. Heck yeah. But they got to have people in front of him. Otherwise, they're wasting draft capital on somebody who's going to get hurt.
What do you think?
Who can't play.
What if they attack? What if they attack the free agency and they're saying, "Look, we're gonna get a quarterback now for later, but we're gonna make sure we get ourselves a veteran guard in there and then develop another guy that we have here because they have drafted some offensive linemen throughout the last few years."
They have drafted some, but they're projects. They haven't stepped up. They haven't.
It's 1 year, though. You're done after 1 year? You got to give them like a couple years, right?
They better keep on drafting then because injuries happen.
I feel you, Randy. You're crazy, though, Pat Mahomes, man. I love you.
Peace out.
All right,
Thanks for the call, Randy. I don't think Randy in his soul believed the Pat Mahomes. I think he was trying to make the point.
He just had to stick with it. I appreciate that stubbornness. He was like, I said it. I got to roll with it.
You could tell that he was like, I should have said like Jared Goff
or
like a ready-made starter. But the overall sentiment about like, I do think there are plenty of people, exactly like Randy, who say it doesn't matter who you draft.
Yeah.
If you can't have a good offensive line, is ultimately what they're saying. Now, if you were to tell me your offensive line will still be bad in 2025, but you're going to get Patrick Mahomes 2.0, I'd be like, how do I trade up to 1 to make sure I get this kid? Anyway, so really good calls. Randy was my favorite caller.
Randy, I like Randy, man.
You and Randy going back and forth made my day. Randy was having fun with it.
Yeah, that's the attitude. Didn't get offended and get all angry. It's just a little bar top banter.
Do you think there's going to be a quarterback in this year's draft that ends up being like a why were we talking so much about Cam Ward and Shedeur when this guy was right there the whole time?
Kyle McCord.
Really? That's not who I thought you would say.
I think Kyle McCord is a lot better than what he's getting credit for.
Why isn't he getting more credit?
I don't know. I don't see it. He played in an offense where he threw the ball 100 times a game. He had the most completions, the most yards in the country. He's experienced. He came from Ohio State. He knows what winning looks like. Finished at Syracuse. I think and the thing is, it's probably because he's not as mobile as these other guys.
I was going to say, is there a knock on athleticism?
He's a pocket guy. He can run a bit, but he's not as mobile as the other guys.
Isn't it weird considering that, like, maybe in 2007 he's a first-round pick?
Yep, easily.
That's just how it is. All right, you guys. Someone said Randy was using hyperbole. Yes.
Yeah.
I think he was.
Yeah, but don't come in here with that. Don't say Pat Mahomes. I don't care, Pat. No, don't say his name. Okay.
All right, you guys. We still have some really good John Schneider cuts to get to at 1:30 right now, though. Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down. What do you love about Shedeur Sanders, and what do you think he can potentially learn fairly quickly in the NFL?
I love this man's confidence. I love how he's not changing for anybody. We're sitting here watching the combine. He's got his 2 chains on, backwards cap. Like, just be you, right? You've been this way your whole life, and it's gotten you so far. So I love that about him. I love his confidence. I also think that there's some things that might be hard for him. There are 190,000 D1 players. There's 2,016 NFL players. The talent's going to be better. I understand he's overcome a lot. He's had like 4 or 5 different coordinators and been able to execute. And his support will be different. His dad ain't going to be there. His brother ain't going to be there. And he operated kind of as like the Buff CEO. You know, he had your dad as a president and he was the CEO. It's just going to be different. He can achieve CEO status in the NFL, but that takes a long time and it takes high performance. It's just going to be different. But here's what's working for him. We have seen back-to-back years of two of the best rookie seasons out of quarterbacks we've ever seen. First, it was C.J. Stroud, 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, completed 63% of his passes, and he got a playoff win. And then this year, we saw Jaden Daniels, 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, completed 69% of his passes, and had 891 rush yards, 6 touchdowns, and made it to the conference championship. I'm going to say the success of those two guys have contributed to the confidence that Shedeur already has. Right now, he's one of the more confident players out there. So I'm just interested. I'm not rooting against the guy. I'm rooting for the guy, but I also think that whatever situation he goes to, it might be a bit different than the Commanders with Quinn and that talent over there, and C.J. Stroud and the Texans and DeMarco Ryans are. Am I saying right? Yeah, DeMeco Ryans over there. So it's just different. So I'm rooting for him. I hope that confidence shows on the football field. But wherever he might go to Cleveland, it might be to the Titans, it might be to the Jets, Vegas. It's just a different situation. So I am interested. Love his confidence. And if we were to see back-to-back-to-back seasons with just rookie quarterbacks going off, man, it's going to be crazy.
Second down. What event is equivalent to a specific Summer Olympics event at the Combine, and who should NFL fans be watching?
I'm going to go on a limb and say that track and field gets the most eyes, at least in America at one point, when they have the 100-meter finals, 200-meter finals, men's, women. It doesn't matter. So I'm looking at the 40-yard dash. There's this young man who went to the University of Texas, Isaiah Bond. He says he is going to run a 4.2 or a 4.run. He's been tracked in training running a 4.23. So look for Isaiah Bond. There's some other names that people are expecting to run fast. You have Arian Smith, a wide receiver out of Georgia. He's been clocked out of 4.2. You have Tess Johnson out of Oregon, the brother of Bo Nix. He's projected to run a 4.2. You have a running back from Tennessee, Dylan Sampson. He's projected to run a 4.3. I just named 3 guys who are projected to run a 4.2. Back in 2008, when I didn't get the invite to the NFL Combine, but I'm watching these guys run their 40s. Yeah, Chris Johnson run a 4.2. You had Rogers Cromartie run a 4.2 as well. These young men are getting faster and faster and faster. It's crazy. So if there's any event that I tune in for every single year, it's the 40-yard dash, because it feels like the 100 meters, like I'm watching Noah Lyles try to capture the gold medal. And I think a lot of people like to watch this too. There's already been a linebacker out of UCLA to run a 4.3. I'm telling you, these positions are getting crazier. These young men are getting faster. It's fun to watch. So watch the 40. You got some names: Isaiah Bond, Arian Smith, Tess Johnson, and Dylan Sampson.
Those records are being broken so quickly. Not quickly, but you thought it would be Chris Johnson just forever. Then John Ross does it. And in my mind, I was like, oh, what was John Ross's time? Oh, wait, no, Xavier Worthy broke it. It's 4.21, and that was just last season. God, third down. Jackson Dart compared himself to an NFL quarterback. Who is it, and do you agree?
So my man said he models his game after Jalen Hurts. And I've watched some film on Jackson Dart already, and I had to go back and say, all right, let's see if his game looks like Jalen Hurts. First, let's start with the measurables. They're about the same size. Dart is 6'2", 225. Hurts is 6'1", 223. Then I started looking at the release of the football, how they throw the rock. It's similar. It's crazy how similar it is. And then you look at the offense that they are in. Dart over there at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin runs a lot of RPOs. We do that over there with the Eagles. They also run a lot of play action off the split zone look. They do the same. I don't think he is as fast as Jalen Hurts, but he has that smoothness to him. Like when you look at Jalen Hurts run, you don't think, man, he's explosive. You think he's smooth. He's got that speed. He's like that Cadillac. Once it gets going, man, it's coasting. That's what I see out of Jackson Dart. The more film I watch out of Jackson Dart, the more I like. What I don't want is for him to catapult and be like the number 2 quarterback. I think that should be locked up already. Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. But he's clearly the number 3 to me. Number 3, him. Then I put Ewers at 4, and I put McCord at 5. But Jackson Dart, he's intriguing, and now he's been linked to the Seattle Seahawks, so you know I'm going to dive even deeper and watch more film. He has a calm demeanor about his style out there. He never looks panicked or rushed. He looks like he knows where he's going with the football. He compared himself to Jalen Hurts. I can see it. I was ready to look at this film and be like, kid, you're tripping, Jalen Hurts. What you talking about? No, that's the perfect comparison. The measurables are the same. The release is the same. The way they run, they're similar styles. He's a bigger quarterback. He's thick. He's got a good lower half. It's a good comparison.
Fourth down. Anything sticking with you with our conversation with Brian?
Yeah, I got excited listening to Brian talk about the offensive line and how the players that are on this roster already kind of fit the scheme that Kubiak wants to do. Christian Haynes is a smaller center/guard. That's perfect for the outside zone. And there's a there's a sweet spot when it comes to that size at that guard center spot if you're running outside zone, because you don't want to be too small, you don't want to be too big, but you got to have feet and be able to get to that second level. He also mentioned that Sundell has been getting a lot more love than he thought he would be getting. That was interesting as well. Here's the thing. We've seen so many of these young guys play already that we have an idea what they can do, and you put them in a new offense, it might highlight them. I like that he liked the personnel that we have at offensive line in Kubiak's offense. You still got to get a veteran to help this crew out, but this is a good starting point. You got a lot of guys who have played already. They're not the biggest guys in the world. Some of them, LeMay was a big human being. But, no, I like that he thinks it's a good fit for this Kubiak wide zone look.
Let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
The Kraken hosts the Canucks tomorrow night at Climate Pledge Arena. Puck drop at 7 p.m. Coming up next, John Schneider talks about all the stuff that matters off the field with athletes they meet at the Combine.
The John Schneider Show.
With Wyman and Bob.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
You're down at the Combine. What's the biggest priority that you want to know about these players?
Yeah, I would say having our coaches here this year, interviewing the players in person and watching them interact, how they respond to the teaching, and can they teach the coaches. That's probably the most important thing this year. We didn't bring the guys last year because everybody was just installing our systems and getting going. So it's pretty cool having those guys here this year.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Jay Leno, live Wednesday, April 9th at Muckleshoot Event Center. Come laugh it up with one of comedy's living legends. No politics, no lectures, just jokes, and they're all clean. Get your tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com. Jay Leno live Wednesday, April 9th, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Muckleshoot. Crafted with precision and timeless elegance, Chris-Craft boats are the epitome of sophistication and performance. Each is a masterpiece designed with superior craftsmanship, exquisite materials. No matter your pleasure, cruising, surfing, or performance from 24 to 35 feet, it's at Chris-Craft Northwest. Look at the rest, then experience art in motion. Chris-Craft Northwest. See the difference at the new Chris-Craft Northwest showroom on Lake Union during the open house through March 1st. Visit ChrisCraftNW.com.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy
down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people, and we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships, because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck, and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees, because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We're watching some 40 times from the Combine for DBs, and the Seahawks coaching staff and John Schneider in the front office are out there as well. But I think an interesting question posed in the latest John Schneider show is, well, what else are you guys watching? Obviously, you're looking at workouts and medicals are important, but what's the other stuff that you kind of look for? Really interesting sound from John. Here's something.
It's interesting watching the guys interact with each other. So when in the group, when you're watching it live, because you can get way more, we get way more out of it. You can see it on TV, right? Yeah. And some teams aren't even staying anymore for the live workouts, like at the Dome. Some teams are leaving after they get through with the interviews and the physicals and everything. So, and meeting with all the agents and all the teams and everything that goes into it early in the week. But, I would say, like, watching the guys just compete and how they're prepared for, to your point, Dave, whether it's, the bench press or the vertical or the short shuttle, or it depends. And all those things are there's different importance on all the drills based on the testing based on position. So just watching those guys compete and interact, is the guy, like, how they're handling themselves as in the group. Are they like they do their thing and then go off to the side and like just be by themselves and be on their phones, or are they hanging out with the other guys and like encouraging them and talking to the coaches and interacting?
Bump, you've obviously been a coach, and I'm sure there are things that you might pick up on about players that have nothing to do with skill on the field that just tells you a little more about the kind of person a player is. What are some of those things?
Yeah, you look at the way they interact with their teammates, or in this situation at the Combine with their peers. You're seeing how confident they are, because you can tell just because you're loud and you're barking and you're talking a lot doesn't mean that you're really confident, right? There's body language. I can read through all of that real quickly with an athlete. Sometimes the loudest guy is the most insecure guy.
Yeah.
And it's just how authentic they are. Like, what's the biggest change? You're obviously going to talk to your peers differently than you speak to authority figures or teams that you hope draft you. But is it so drastically different that you are just you're a totally different person? Like, that's why I like Shedeur and how he handles himself. Like, this is who he is. This is what you get. He's not going to talk to the GM of the Vegas Raiders the same way he talks to Cam Ward, but it's not going to be too far off neither.
Do you think that if John Schneider was like, hey, Bump, I know you, because you were really interested in, like, human behavior, right, in psychology. if he was like, hey, sit down on this interview with me, do you think you could parse through someone's BS?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially athletes, football players.
What would you
like,
watch for?
I don't just the way they say things, where their eyes go when they say things. Are they fidgety? And most of the time when they're asking these questions, they already know the answer.
Yeah.
They know, so they want to see just how truthful they're going to be. If I went in without knowing, I think I can get pretty close to knowing if they're telling the truth or not.
God, see, this is the stuff that's so fascinating to me because I think where Seattle has, and John Schneider has admittedly missed before, is being like, yeah, we've drafted some guys that are really talented, but then later we realized, despite your best research, like they don't have the right mindset for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you get, man.
And how many guys have we seen around the league like that? It's like the most talented guy just gives up easily, gets mad, gets frustrated with failure after never failing.
You're not going to bat 1,000 when picking the right guys for the job. There are some people who can fool you. That's for sure. I mean, how many times have you dated somebody and it was all good for a month and you're like, oh, snap, this person's crazy. Like, what the heck's going on? Or this isn't what I thought I signed up for.
I think it's more of like I don't know that anyone's like, even like as a friend, like revealed themselves later, but I'm thinking more of like, you have to be on your best behavior as a player. And a lot of these guys are from worlds where they have gotten a lot of attention, a lot of praise, like when they're high level athletes, rarely failed. And I think what's interesting to me is what separates, like what stands out when they're looking at guys and they're like, oh, this guy is different.
You know how they say when you're drunk, like you show like your true personality?
Yeah.
When these dudes get money, that's when you really know who they are.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think it tells something about people. There were some funny stories to come from this.
I did a cool thing yesterday with ESPN with Jason Light, and they asked us like your favorite like scouting stories or interview stories, and one of them was I'm not sure if I've shared this with you before, but one of mine was we asked a running back, like, you would prefer, you feel like you're more effective inside runner or outside runner, and he's like, are you kidding me? Have you seen our new indoor facility?
Yeah.
And then the other one, we had another running back, and we were asking about his marijuana smoking, and at the time, I was still with the Packers. My boss kept pressing him, and finally he panicked. He's like, I don't understand it, son. Like, why would you do that? I just don't understand why you would do that to risk everything. And he's like, I'm sorry. I was just on the couch and I was next.
I loved those two stories. I laughed out loud when I heard them the first time. I like the inside-outside one, too. Are you about our inside runner or outside runner? Just, oh, wow, you should see our indoor practice facility.
Our indoor facility's
love,
fire.
Love rushing inside.
That's the, like, naiveness sometimes that you get with some of these dudes. And it's just real.
Yeah.
And you can appreciate that. Even about the one where I was just next. And he was like, I didn't know what to do. Peer pressure. I was next. I'm sure they appreciated that. And I'm sure that was during a time when you couldn't partake in the herbals.
Had to be, where it's like, oh, this could drop your draft stock. I mean, even like thinking of Laramie Tunsil, like tumbling, like that used to be a huge deal. And I just like, I don't know what to tell you. I was next. We had a couple people saying when you act differently when you're on camera or off camera. 1,000%.
Yeah, for sure. Catch me on CW ESPN. It's the same, but it's different.
What about, I don't know if they do this. I don't know if research goes this deep. Maybe it does, and I'm naive. Do you think they look into, like, who are this guy's friends? Like, who's he hanging with?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, or maybe they're asking coaches, like, who does he hang out with? What do you think of the group that he's with?
Definitely.
What kind of mindset would you be looking for? If John Schneider said, no, really, come with me, and I'll help you parse out this BS. But there's a mentality I feel is missing from my team, and I want to find it here. What would you be looking for?
I'd be looking for just a fierce competitor, like the dude who says he doesn't want to lose in anything. I won't let my little cousin beat me. I won't let my mom beat me in anything. Like, that's the guy that I want, because when you get into these training camp situations, that's what it is. You see the roster slowly. Well, actually, it's not slowly no more. It's mass.
Yeah.
When I'm back in my day, it was like from 90 to 70 to 60 to boom. Now it's just you're gone, right, in one cut. So just a competitor, anything that indicates that they can have their back against the wall, they can be outmanned, and they're still going to go out there and just grind.
I think I would want to know, like, when you failed, why'd you fail? And if the first thing they say is like, oh, our offensive line, blah, 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 or like, I think most players would be media trained enough to know, like, I didn't do enough.
Yeah.
But, like, when you get to the pros, are you going to walk into the locker room? And maybe as a veteran, you can be, hey, you need to be better to someone else. But as a rookie, I don't know that it's ever going to be your place as a rookie to be pointing the finger at anyone else.
Yeah.
So it's, you know.
It's all you.
Yeah, is the first thing you do when someone says, why did you guys lose this game? Think, well, here's what I didn't do. So I think that can be really telling too. All right, get your questions in for What I Need to Know. Any question, text it to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. Get those questions in. Also, in partnership with Virginia Mason Franciscan Health and the Nick of Time Foundation, the Seahawks are hosting the second annual free youth heart screening event at Virginia Mason Athletic Center in Renton on Saturday, March 8th. This is a public event providing screenings for youth ages 12 to 24 in hopes of detecting heart abnormalities and giving them the knowledge and care they need. Detecting heart conditions early is key, and a simple heart screening could save a life. So don't wait. Spots are limited. Register today at vmfh.org/Seahawks. What I Need to Know is coming your way next.
Brock and Salk, live in Peoria.
Our opportunity to sit down with the catcher, Cal Raleigh.
Is this the ceiling, or do you think that there is more in the tank?
No, there's more. There's plenty of parts of my game I want to improve on. You know, you look at like striking out less, more balls in play, a little more better with the average. You know, even the catching side of it, you know, throwing out more runners. Is there any kind of way I can get better in the leadership side? Things like that. So there's a lot more in the tank, and you also don't want to lose the things you're good at.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 4th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires PayPal and auto-pay stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
These days, it feels like everyone is talking about how the American dream of homeownership has become out of reach for so many of us. Well, Rocket is trying to give us more of a chance to own our homes. They're making homeownership simpler and more accessible to more people, turning renters into owners. Rocket believes that every one of us deserves a shot at the American dream. So, are you ready? Own the dream. Visit Rocket.com or call 800-4ROCKET.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb. Expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer $149 or less. And soon, one expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/Cyberknife Prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know, so send your question, any question at all, to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. What I need to know, says one listener. Today, I just realized while I was listening to a classic rock station that Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, and Fall Out Boy are considered classic rock. When did you have a, whoa, where did the time go moment, and what was it?
That's jacked up. That was one of them right there.
Yeah, that one hurt. Thanks for that.
You know, when I started hearing, like, the music I grew up on being remade, when other people are using the beats.
And then young people don't know it.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, this is so-and-so. Like, what do you mean? This is Glorilla. No, it ain't. That's Luda.
Yeah. Or like the video that you showed me the other day of a young person. What was it? Nelly Furtado.
Furtado.
She was like Nelly Furtado. Yeah, I think.
What?
Any singers, movies that were so incredibly widespread when I was younger that a full-grown generation doesn't know.
Yeah.
That gets me. Like people in their 20s, early 20s, or late teens that just have no idea who, like, I don't know, Christina Aguilera is or something, or Britney Spears. And you're like, but they were everywhere.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't know?
How don't you know?
What do you mean you didn't know Beyonce was in Destiny's Child? What are you talking about? Another one is when there was a 20-year, this was a couple years ago, but a 20-year anniversary of Mean Girls.
It's been 20 years?
20 years. 20. Since Mean Girls came out.
You know what? I realized I was old when I realized you can't make movies like Fat Camp anymore.
Oh, that like there was a whole culture shift.
Oh,
heavyweights?
Heavyweights, yes. You can't make that movie. People would lose their stuff.
Yeah. Yep. What I need to know. My brother's a fan of OKC. I say you can't be a fan of a team that took us away from basketball. What do you guys think? I'm guessing this family's local.
You can't be a fan of what?
So his brother is a Thunder fan, and he's telling his brother, you can't be a Thunder fan.
You can't
do
whatever
this.
you want to do.
If he's from here,
What are you talking about?
I mean,
Do what you want to do.
that's a bad look.
Do what you want to do.
What if Willa loved the Thunder?
We would have a very.
But what if she said, I love the colors, and I love this team, and I want this to be my team?
No,
I take that back because my son liked Kyrie, and I said, you can't be a Celtics fan. Like,
Exactly.
So both of you would ban your kids from liking certain teams. What if they were like, please, I love green?
No.
Go to your room.
You can like Kyrie,
Yeah.
but no.
Well, listener, I think that's your answer. That once Bump and Curtis thought about whether or not they would let their kids be fans of teams they hate, so they think it's perfectly fair that you think you can't be a fan.
I will say though,
That's
there are kids that are probably close to finishing high school now that have never had the Sonics in their life and have only known Oklahoma City. And I mean, they're a young team. They've got some flashy guys on their team.
Yeah.
SGA, Chet Holmgren, and whatnot. Like, I'm not excusing OKC fandom from anybody in the Pacific Northwest, but like, if you're 17, 18 years old, like, there's no Sonic history that has been a part of your life.
Well, and kids without ties to a team usually just choose a good team or a good player. Like one that they see all the time, that they're going to see in magazines, that's going to be on the cover of a cereal box. Like, overexposure is going to lead them to be like, I like this person. Like, rarely is a kid going to be like, I really want to be a Jags fan. I've been thinking on it, and I just love Jacksonville. What I need to know, 866-979-3776. Get your questions in now. Let's see. What I need to know, if Mike Salk was in a dunk tank for a charity event and you pay $1 a ball, how many balls are you buying before you think you could get them?
Just one.
One, yeah.
I'm hitting it.
I think Mike would probably agree.
Sorry to charity, but we're not wasting any throws.
From aim purposes, if you were like, and if you don't get this, like, you owe triple the money, I'd probably buy like 6. It would take me a lot of attempts.
If you owe triple the money, then I'll just owe $3.
Yeah. That's true. Let's see. I'm just realizing how stupid that was. Like, yeah, if I miss, I owe triple the money. Then I'll just buy one. Instead, I was like, oh, I'm gonna need so many attempts. This is why, Bump. I failed math and I had to copy all my homework from Amy. Shout out Amy Van.
Big ups, Amy Van.
Thank you for helping me pass math. I was failing until I had you help me.
In a way, she's a double major too.
It's a good way to look at it. What I need to know, Bump, have you ever caught balls from a lefty quarterback?
Yeah, I think I have, like, at camps and stuff, but not as, like, my primary quarterback, no.
Is there actually a noticeable difference as a player?
The spin is different.
Really?
It feels different when you catch the ball.
Literally, like it's going against your skin.
It's going the other way.
Yeah, I guess I never thought about that.
It's like toilets in Australia, you know?
So if a lefty in Australia threw to you,
then
it'd
it's
be like
right.
Catching it from right.
Let's see, 866-979-3776. What I need to know. What do you dread more? Household chore edition. Dishes or laundry?
Laundry.
Yeah. Because that's like 3 chores in one.
Because there's a
Doing
lot
the
of
laundry.
clothes.
Yeah, okay,
Lots of
fair.
clothes.
Folding it and then putting it away.
I guess, see, I was initially thinking, okay, well, I mean, you put the load in and then you just kind of sit around and then you just wait. But no, you're right. It is absolutely the worst task because there are so many steps to it. Eventually the dishes are done and you don't have to go back and check to make sure they're still done. Just done.
It's done.
866-979-3776. Get your questions in. Someone said, my daughter and her husband have taken in OKC as their team. It's an ongoing argument. Oh, no. Let's see. Someone said, I used to hate catching for lefties in high school. It was horrible since lots of them are a bit wild. Really?
For baseball or football?
Football.
Nah, I wouldn't. I mean, come on. You can't just pigeonhole all lefties like that.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Hey, right? I forgot you were lefty, Curtis.
Oh, yeah. I frequently forget you're a lefty. Sorry, Curtis.
It's okay.
I've been accidentally insulting you for several minutes here. 866-979-3776. People were sending in their I realized I was old moment. Someone said, when the baby on the cover of Nevermind turned 30.
Oh, yeah, Nirvana's album.
Yeah.
Is that the one swimming in the pool?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dang.
That baby's 30. Or maybe has since been, maybe that baby's 32.
I think he recently sued whatever is left of Nirvana to be like, hey, I didn't make enough money off of this. It's like, buddy, you're a baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gossipy type question.
My mom said that one of my quarterbacks in high school was a lefty.
I love that she remembers.
But my main quarterback was a righty, and then my senior year, I didn't play quarterback for like 2 games, and I finished as a quarterback. So maybe that's why I don't remember if he was a lefty or not.
Yeah.
I only played like a couple games with him.
Apparently he wasn't that great. He's not very memorable to bum. Someone said, have you ever seen a player actively undermine a teammate?
I'm sure I have. I couldn't really remember any specifics. So dudes be hating in the locker rooms.
Really?
Dudes
like teasing or hating?
Hating, nah, both. Teasing and hating. You get a locker room, especially in college, locker room with like 90 dudes in there, the hate is real.
How do you even get rid of that? Is it usually like 1 or 2 guys leading the charge?
Yeah, it's like a group of 2 or 3 who ain't getting no playing time, don't got no girls, so they hating, you know? That's what it usually is.
Get mad. Do you think Pete Carroll still holds a grudge against Russell?
Nah, he's 12 for that.
I don't think. I mean, Earl Thomas quite literally flipped off Pete Carroll while he was being carted off the field. And I think Pete, even in that moment, was like, man, I love that guy.
Hey, man, he's young.
Yeah, I don't think anything affects him. This has been Bump and Stacy. If you missed any part of the show, make sure you check out the Bump and Stacy podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, or SeattleSports.com. For Michael Bumpus, Curtis Rogers, Matt Nelson, I'm Stacy Rost. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Seattle Sports is heading to Arizona for spring training baseball.
Knowing every night when you go out there that you're going to get a great pitching outing is tremendous.
Go behind the scenes with Wyman and Bob as the Seattle Mariners get ready for the 2025 season. All next week from 2 to 7.
Back she goes, going and going. Goodbye, baseball. He did it. Julio Rodriguez.
And hear every pitch of spring training baseball on Seattle Sports. Streaming on the Seattle Sports app.
Holy smokes.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Hey, Brock Heward here. And as a former college and professional player, and quarterback in particular, the years of wear and tear and some of those hits left my knee and some of my body in some constant pain. On and off the field, the weight room, all those heavy squats and all of it. In fact, my knee was really bothering me last year. That's why I decided to try stem cell injection therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson at Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine over there in Kirkland. And really, it was an awesome decision. With Dr. Dan, the procedure itself was so quick and easy. In and out, same day. Next day, I'm out watching football practice, a baseball game, and the staff was absolutely A+. And my knee, well, it's a whole lot better now, and I'm back to squatting and enjoying a much better quality of life. Call Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD, with Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. Over 30 years of experience. No one, and I mean no one, has more experience in pain medicine techniques. You can reach him at 425-823-4000. That's 425-823-4000 or DanielNelsonMD.com.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Up top, bike shop. Yeah.
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messethorpe, Dubois,
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years!
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five!
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Down, set, Pizza Hut, Make the play of the game with Pizza Hut. Buy any large Pizza Hut pizza and get another one free. Use code HUT at checkout. That's code HUT for a buy one, get one free exclusive offer to 710 Seattle Sports listeners. No one out pizzas the Hut.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund returning 9% has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com.